Stef Darnell, what the fuck is up, man?
What is going on?
Been looking forward to this. It's been
baby.
Been over a year. It's been a bit long, so I appreciate you coming back and doing this. Fucking cheers,
already, man.
Is this your first Guinness? There's no way.
First Guinness ever.
There is no way.
I saved it just for this occasion, bro. I drink stouts though. That's what's crazy or whatever. But I just never had a Guinness. I kind of wanted to have one in the place where they make it. You know what I'm saying?
What I like about Guinness, and I don't know. Before I say this. So I'm going to talk out of my ass a little bit. What do you think?
Gross.
You don't like it? You don't like it?
No, it's not gross. It's just like
not your favorite.
What
I like about it is if you're going to buy a stout to take home, they have this little like nitrous thing inside of it that helps add a little bit of flavor, but it's not for everybody. It is not for everybody. If you don't like it, you ain't got to drink it. You're all good.
Nah, it's going to get finished. Please believe. I was expecting more bite off of that for some reason. I don't know why I thought that was going to have a little more like...
If you get it out of a tap, it does, for sure. But that's like with every beer. Yeah. Out of a tap is going to be better.
It's a little wet. Like, no, I'm not wet. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for.
It's
light, maybe.
Yeah, it's not as full.
Yeah,
it's not as full as it is. It focuses.
It's like a dark light beer.
Yeah, I think the canned ones focus more on the coffee flavor than they do the actual like the fullness of the beer. Now, also, I don't know shit about beer. I just know what I've drank.
Yeah,
so
we know nothing.
But we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I'm not getting without getting like minutia of it, but we're talking about like lineups and putting shows together and what it takes to actually run a good comedy show. I kind of had an idea of it, more or less. Had an idea. Then I started running my own shows. And I was like, fuck.
And it changed the whole perspective.
And one thing that I always had, and I still do, but one thing where I have a lot of respect for Sarah and for Dry Heat and basically putting all of that together. And this isn't a knock on anybody at all. This is not a knock on any comics in the city. However, we are a small comedy scene, community group, whatever you want to call it. I would say being liberal with it. There are 35 to 40 comedians in the city. And what I mean by that, it's like comedians by people that are consistently doing it, going to open mics, trying to get booked on shows, that are consistently working at it. I would be liberal with it, 35 to 40.
It's a little higher now.
Okay, and that's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
But so let's say 40, right? There are 40 comics. And if you're running a comedy club where you are proposing even one show twice a week or twice a weekend, so 2 shows a weekend. But even if you're doing 4 total and you want, and they're not like always going to be headliner shows, but they're doing longer sets, they're like 8-minute sets. You're booking 6 or 7 comics and then you have a host. You are running through that roster of people quick. You are running through it quick.
Insanely quick. And then
tough.
you're going to start booking the same people over again, you know what I'm saying? Hoping for something new. They might not. They may have something new. They might not, you know what I'm saying?
Which is fine, depending on the revolving door of your audience. You know what I mean?
Put them,
But it's a challenge.
It's tough, bro. It's tough in a small city like this because one, it's hard to get headline. It's hard to get other comics to come out here, not just big name comics. They're coming now because we have some more like some bigger clubs that can hold them and do that advertising and do what it pay them the money that they deserve to be able to come on that stage. It's harder for a smaller club or a small or these bar show venues and stuff to get people to come unless you got the money to make them come out here. I remember going back to Atlanta and asking some of the bigger comics. I was like, man, y'all should come out, man. We about to have 3 clubs. I'm telling them about Dry Heat. This is when Dry Heat was still, on its own. And then Casadas was open. I'm like, we got spots if y'all come out and try to make it a weekend with them, then y'all can, whatever. He's just like, I got told to my face, man, we ain't coming out there, bro. Like, ain't nobody coming out to Albuquerque. Which is,
well, I think a lot of that is not a lot of it, but a good chunk of that is going to start to change once Hyenas opens up, and depending on how successful Hyenas is out here. I think that once Hyenas opens up, they get a good crowd. I think they already posted that one of their shows are fucking sold out already.
Man, I mean, but Hyenas has been advertising since freaking 2013, man. It's like, bro, like, when is it gonna open?
Well, they're supposed to open up this weekend. So we're filming this. This isn't gonna come out for about 2 weeks or so, but we're filming this on Monday the 10th. And
February, right?
Right, cool. February.
Just for posterity.
Yeah, February the 10th. And I'm looking up Hyenas right now because I could have sworn.
I'm pretty sure they've had people on their roster for doing shows and they haven't been canceling them and stuff.
Yeah, because they had stuff in like October of last year.
Yeah.
But they had, let me find
We waiting on them, man. Hyenas, we waiting on y'all, bro. Like, Stef, Darnell, check out the boy. Ain't no hate or nothing like that, man.
Here we go. Yeah, we've got Carlos Mencia on the 14th. Mm-hmm. So that's Friday. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chop Chili. Guys, this is personally my favorite chili brand here in the state of New Mexico, and you can find them online at chopchilico.com. You can also find them all across the state of New Mexico at Sprouts, Albertsons, Smith's, and a bunch of other stores in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Las Cruces. I believe they're even down in El Paso now. They sell red and green chili, of course. My personal favorite is this blend of red and green, and they also sell online frozen bags of green chili. So again, go to chopchilico.com to get yourself some amazing chili today. Now back to the podcast. Are they open?
That is definitely Friday. That is definitely Friday. And he has definitely been advertising too.
I've seen that.
I've seen a couple advertisements on Facebook.
Yeah.
With Carlos Mencia on them. So, I mean, maybe they open. Maybe this is like a dry open or something like that. And they,
Yeah. But I think a lot of that's going to change. I think when Hyenas opens up and they get their feet going, even like Casadas, because I went to a few of those shows in the beginning, and it took a couple months for crowds to recognize it.
People got to realize it's there.
And they got a
thing to do.
Right, and that's legit. It's something you're worth spending your money on. It's a thing to do, because comedy is not really a thing in the city yet. Mm-hmm. It's growing at a rapid pace, but it's not like a...
Well, I mean, but we're trying to, if you look at it in the vein of trying to compare it to another, city that has comedy cities, it's not that. But you got to think, like I said, New Mexico has had comedy for a while. We had a club and we had all that, but it was a lot of boo-boo out here. You know what I'm saying? It was some really good comics. Excuse me, surrounded by, I did that right in the mic too. Surrounded by burps. You know what I mean? It was so. I mean, I don't know, and I think those comics that were the burps, you know what I mean? They either stopped doing it, or they relegated themselves to like, okay, I know I'm just gonna be a comic out here, just out here pretty much, and they either, they start running shows or whatever. Because I think some of the, I'm not gonna say some of the worst comics run shows, but.
Check out my shows at Safe House.
That's not to say that they do, because you look at the best comics are running shows too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Check out my shows. They're at Safe House and OT.
Because you look at how many shows we got. These are normally produced by people that are doing their thing out here and shit like that. Zach Beta got a good show, man. You know what I'm saying? Sarah and them own a freaking club. So
it's possible.
And
it's just cool to see a lot of it grow. And then after Hiatus gets a foothold, I think in more. This is just outside. This is outside looking in, but I imagine this word's going to travel. It's like, hey, like there's something happening in Albuquerque. It's just a flyover city anymore, not a flyover state. Because I had this conversation with Zach. This was end of like 2022, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was like end of 22. I was going through some shit personally. I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of Albuquerque soon, man. This is kind of beating me up. And I was like, man, maybe I was thinking to myself, like, maybe I was to get a good foothold, however long that's gonna take. And I was very naive to all of it. I was like, man, let's get a good foothold. Split out to Austin, split out to Colorado Springs. I certainly can't afford Denver, but like somewhere like that. And I was talking to him about it, and he was like, well, I was thinking the same thing. But things are kind of growing here, and I'm gonna stick around to see. Yeah, this was end of 22 going into 23. It's like I'm gonna stick around through the summer of next year and see what's going on. I mean, it's 25 and he's still here.
I talked to him, and I mean, yeah, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go.
Oh no, yeah, I was just saying that, like, you know, my mindset was like, well, if someone at his level is seeing the value in sticking around, I've got no business in leaving. A, B, that trip out that I took to Austin and last year opened my eyes like crazy, because I was like, man, like there are so many people who think they are good enough to do what we all want to do on a huge level. Because here I'm like, the way I see it is, here I'm like a small fish in like a pond,
A small pond,
like a pond. Like we all know each other. People know who we are. I'm getting, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, I've gotten opportunities that in a big city I never would have gotten. Yeah, it wasn't even like open mic. I'm still in the open mic stage, but like out there in like a Austin, like a Denver or whatever, that's like a still bottom of the totem pole. So the fact that I've gotten the opportunities that I have are only because I'm here, right? And so I was like, okay, here I'm a small fish in a small pond. Austin is a small fish in an ocean. And it's the same thing as like Denver,
Creole out there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'm gonna stick around, do what I'm doing here, get everything that I can out of it for as long as it takes, and then now, granted, just because I've lived here my whole life, I don't want to be 30 in Albuquerque. But if that's just what it's gonna take, then it's what it's gonna fucking take. And it's something I've come to realize now after going to Austin as well is like, Albuquerque scene is growing, and it's a great place to be if you're going to start going on the road, because Denver's here, Austin's there, Phoenix is there, LA's a 2-hour flight that way, Chicago's a 3-hour flight that way.
Vegas is an 8-hour drive.
Vegas is right there.
That's a drive, not even an 8-hour drive.
It's like 6.5.
6.5. Yeah, something like that. Nah, it might be 8, because 6 hours is Phoenix.
Either way.
So, well, yeah, regardless of the fact,
it's a good place to be.
It's close, man. And I mean, I've always said that to people, and I had been telling people that, you know, coming to the class and all that stuff, like, Albuquerque, the scene is growing. If you want to at least get a taste of what it'll be like to be, you know, somewhere else where comedy is popping, like, stay here, get your chops and shit, but travel so you can see if you're funny in other places. You have to do that, because just funny in New Mexico is not funny universal. I mean, and that's for any state. You know what I'm saying? You want to be, wherever you're at, you want to be universal, but here is an extra closed-in system of, you know, weirdos. So it's just like, get out and do extra stuff, and please go out and try your stuff, but know that, you know, that right now, this is a great place for a beginner to start.
It is.
Because it's friendly. You know what I'm saying? What y'all think is drama, what goes on in the freaking group chats, what we think of as comedy drama is not real comedy drama, bro. It's not. It's like, this is this is nothing compared to some of the stuff I've seen.
Because just at a minimum, again, this is outside looking in. This is where I can extrapolate what could be happening in other scenes. But like, I mean, to be honest, we don't have, now I'm losing the word. We don't have industry. We don't have industry here. We don't have people, think about it like this. We don't have people from like HBO or Netflix or Hulu coming to Dry Heat.
How do we know we
or
don't?
Coming to whatever. I feel like somebody would have said something. Like, this place is too tiny.
How do we know we don't? You gotta think about like Netflix is here.
Okay, yeah, Netflix
they
is
make
here.
Movies here,
but they're not sending out scouts for stand-ups.
I know they're not sending out scouts, but it's like, I would like to believe
they're not
that
sending out producers.
You never know who's in the crowd.
This is true.
You don't just because they're not being sent out don't mean they're just coming to watch some comedy.
Oh no, I agree. Well, and a great example of that, like local industry, I guess, is so AJ made an announcement, but he managed to get the chemo booked for a Denver headliner that's coming in May. I don't think he'd be upset about it, but the way that he got that connection was because he went to, it's a brewery on the west side off of Coors by the giant Sagebrush Church. It's like something in Hops Brewery. I forget what the fuck it's called. but it's a brewery kind of like in this like shopping area.
Yeah.
And he went, I guess he did really well there. And the lady that's like some assistant director or whatever for the chemo pulled him aside and was like, they said you do a lot of shows. You did really good. We want stand up at the chemo. What can you do? And he was like, well, we got this fucking Denver guy that we became in contact with like a month ago that wants to come to Albuquerque in May. So what do you think about that? So we'll see how that goes. But you're right. You don't know who's in the crowd. Shit can happen.
It's true. We'll talk about this off. I don't want to say nothing on here. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Ask you some vital questions. But
Ask me questions. I don't care. I'll tell you the truth. I don't give a fuck. I'll tell you the truth.
Shit.
Ask whatever you want.
Who is, you know what I'm saying? Have y'all seen this guy?
I haven't seen him personally. I want to say his name is Ben Roy.
Ben Roy.
I'll pull him up real quick. I want to say that he.
This is shameless promo for you, Ben.
Yeah, right. He's got a special right now on Hulu.
Hell yeah.
And he's got a show on HBO.
Hell yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it seems like he's doing it. I think he's a stand-up comic, but he started out, I want to say, as a tattoo artist and as like a punk rocker.
And no, please no shade online and stuff. I don't know a lot of comics for real.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of names at least.
No,
I
yeah.
see a face, but like, oh, I know that dude.
Well,
but
there's so many people doing stand-up now.
yeah, and so
There are so many people doing it, which I think is
nobody knows me. So it's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Well, people think have a lot of negative takes on it. I think it's a fucking good thing. If you think you're funny, go fucking try it.
Hey, look.
Go
man.
fucking try it, man.
Yeah, I always tell people try it once, but just don't. I think we just have to temper people's expectations of how much money they're gonna make immediately, or if making money at all at this shit, and the stages that they get on. Just because, like I said again, is and we were talking about this earlier. It's like just because you do comedy don't mean, or like you've gotten on stage and tried to make people laugh does not mean you get a chance to be on this particular stage or in this particular room or whatever. And shit, you have to earn that, man. Like your funny has to be undeniable. And just because a couple people have told you you're funny does not make you. That's like it doesn't, bro. I think a lot of the comics, especially the newer guys, just have to have some more time in to where they've experienced more like different scenarios and different shows and all that. So I'm not saying, like I said, that you can go and run shows and do his mics and go out of town and do all this stuff, but it's just like there's some work that got to be put in, and like to make it where even you feel legitimate when you're in a room with other legitimate people, where it's just like, oh, I'm supposed to be in here, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't just get this because of this, that, and the third. It's like I'm supposed to be here because my comedy is undeniable.
Yeah, well,
not because I know the dude that's producing.
And I mean, I've
that's right. Yeah,
my fucking window's open. I was like, the fuck. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the proper way to ventilate this place because, dude. Well, because like I love this spot. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I'm very, very thankful that I was able to find it because
you got all your shit up in here.
Yeah, exactly. Because did you ever meet when we did the podcast last? Did you ever meet Joey? You ever meet him?
Maybe I don't
know. He's one of my buddies, and so me and three of my other friends were living together at the time. We all two of us went and got a spot. Joe's got another spot. So me and him got a spot, but he had to. Say he went on a mandatory government vacation.
Yeah,
he's been on this podcast a few times. He went on a government vacation, and so I was like, all right, I got to get my own place. And with the economy the way it was going, I was just like, you know what, I'm never gonna live by myself again.
Right.
I'm either gonna have a roommate or a fucking wife, and I don't want either right now. So
I just want to be by myself.
And I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to or afford a place. But thankfully I found this place. But I'm trying to figure out the ventilation because the temperature control is phenomenal out there. But if I put that thermostat at like 70, these rooms go to 78 like
bacon.
Yeah.
That window is tiny, man.
Yeah.
You got that one little window vent, man.
But no, it's you bring up a good point. Like, because I'm not ashamed to say this. Like, because I'm thankful for it. Like, I've been in multiple positions because of Zach Abeda, where like the first time I did dry heat was because of him, and he was like, hey, you're doing pretty all right. You're working hard. Fucking, let's see what you got.
Let's see what you got.
And that was
how you supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. That was
Shout out to Zach.
Maybe 7 months. No, yeah, 7 months, 8 months that are doing stand up. right? And then thankfully that show went really well. Didn't fuck that up. Did very well. And then flash forward, because that was fucking March. Because when did they leave the original spot? I was on the last show.
The one with
where Mark Norman dropped it on the Late Show. Yeah. Is that 23?
It was definitely 23.
Right, 23. And then last year, he took me on the road. That had to have been 24.
It might have been.
Yeah, 24 because I started in 2023. Yeah, so 2024 in March, I do that. And then at the end of October, he takes me on the road, and thank God I did well there. And then, but I only got that gig because I was begging him to fucking get me on the Roswell show because I know people down in Roswell. But he's like, hey, that's completely full, but if you want, I've got a hosting spot open in the Mountain Gods. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. And thankfully that one went well. And then I don't know how the fuck I got booked for Casadas, but Casadas went really fucking well. So I'm just thankful that every time, because you were bringing up
it's names, bro. The reason you got Casada is because somebody said your name. Simple as that. You know what I mean? One of the comics that they trust or somebody that they trust says your name, and you got it. You know what I'm saying? And because you were doing, but they said your name because you were doing like Zach says you was doing good at the, you know what I'm saying? And they saw something in you. So please, your boy got it too. AJ, man, y'all got spots. You know what I'm saying? Probably way earlier than you should have.
Way earlier.
But you got it, you did it, and you performed.
Exactly. And that's and that's the point that I was getting to.
That's what matters.
Was that because you're bringing up how like you need to earn it and get to the point where I should be here. Like, I knew I shouldn't have been there, but I'm going to perform regardless.
Like you're supposed to be.
I'm going to do the very best that I can, regardless, because no matter whether or not I should be, I am.
They put that trust in you.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, get up there and kill it. And you did that. So it's like, cool. Even if you did kill it, you still, I didn't get to see you set. But, and which don't matter. Because you know what I'm saying? But you got up there and you did your thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like they didn't pay you. Wasn't like they was like, hey, nah, hell nah, never again. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if you don't hear no feedback, no shit, to me, no feedback is I ain't never heard that. So I'm like, shit, I know I done at least got up there once. Even at Casadas, man, I know I had a bad, and not even a bad set, just it was like, meh.
Yeah.
It's like kind of phoned it in, but you get 3 more times to get it right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, no, that's dope. I shit, as soon as I saw y'all, they were saying y'all was going to be up there, I'm like, hey. Congrats, my nigga. Fuck him up. Get him.
But it's interesting being in it's like it's back and forth on it, but it's cool starting in a smaller community because if you do get to experience a lot of things, for better or worse, you get to experience things early on. But then, it is important to kind of branch out. And that's what Austin did for me. It's just opened my eyes. Like, nobody knows who the fuck I am, which is good and bad. But like, for instance, I went to the Creek. And I signed up for their open mic. I waited there for 3 hours, didn't even get up on the mic. And I was like, well, that's comedy.
and that'll be every motherfucking week if you live out there. Because everybody, it seemed like, went out there. Once Austin caught that little comedy boom, man, Joe Rogan opened the ship. Like, it was like, I call it the ship, like I done been to that bitch. Fucking the comedy mothership, boot ass. Yeah, man, like,
so what's your advice to people that because I don't go too much anymore because I've been busy as fuck.
Yeah.
But I really do got a lot of that writing class when I was going there. I got a lot out of it.
I appreciate it.
I really did.
Still going on.
What is your advice to everyone that is looking at like in the beginning stages? They're either looking at it, wanting to try it, or maybe they're in their first couple years. Trying to figure it out, trying to figure out their voice. Generally speaking, what's your advice to brand new guys?
Just do it as much as possible. Yeah. Do it as much as possible. If you really want this for real, you got to eat, sleep, and breathe this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gotta be at every open mic, but you better be at damn near all of them. You better be at shows, even if you're not booked on it, and just soak that shit in and do it as much as possible. If you want to get better, you got to keep doing. Like, it's just like, nobody was talking shit I mean, you look at Kobe. Kobe used to get up every morning way before everybody else, be in the gym, shooting. You know what I'm saying? Practicing without being told to practice. He did that shit on his own. So it's the same, and then he was one of the GOATs, bro. If not, in some people's mind, the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it just depends. But it's like you have to put in that level of, if it works for athletes and all these other people, scientists that study and look at all this other stuff and you gotta stay at it constantly. Like, you gotta soak that shit in. I haven't been doing my due diligence and stuff. So I've seen my performance suffer because I haven't been putting in the work that I used to put in, where I would be at the open mics and writing in the mornings and doing all that stuff. Like, I done kind of slacked on a lot of it. So I'm starting to see that wear and tear, and taking some time off the stage and stuff, because I just been going through some. So it's like it happened. So what makes you think me? I've been doing this shit for 13 years, and normally if I get on the stage, I'm performing. G, like, you gonna see a good show. I'm gonna give you something. So if I'm disappointed in myself and I'm seeing the decline, what makes somebody think that they knew that's gonna be able to do it once, get some laughs, but like, I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? And now you expect to be on every stage and all this stuff because you saw some good performances. That ain't how it work, man. You gotta constantly be at this shit, be choking this,
yeah, well,
choking comedy the fuck out.
No, that's a good way to look at it, because I think there's a misconception that you can kind of just like be lackadaisical with it, and there's this idea or this weird like thing where it's like, yeah, stand-up's kind of, you show up, you do it, you leave, you kind of take it as it goes, it'll be all right. But there's so much that has to happen behind the scenes to make the what, let's just say 8 minutes, whether you're doing like a 5 minutes at an open mic or a 10-minute, I don't know, show or whatever, the 8 minutes that you're on stage and say you do well. Like, I'm going through that right now, where like after Casados, I'm getting rid of like half of the shit that I used to do, because it was either military shit, and I just want to get away from that entirely. And you can get that. Like, I just want to get away from.
I never tell military unless I'm on the military base. Then it's different. But
I just want to. I don't want to be. Cause I don't want to get pigeonholed as like a veteran comic or like a bro vet or whatever. So it's getting away from that. And then, because I like politics, but all the political stuff that I was doing doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you got to cut that MAGA shit out.
So, yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know that I'm not, too. You piece of shit.
Cut that shit out, bro. Yeah, relax, man. But that's trying to tell you.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like something, especially as the longer the beard gets, no matter what political stuff I talk about, you look at me and you're like, yeah, he voted for Donald Trump, which I did.
Sounds like you did.
Which I did. But I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump either, but I did vote for him. But I'm understanding a little bit more about how I look on stage and how I, even without opening my mouth, how I... I immediately walk on stage and what it looks like, and it changes. It changes depending on like, and this is gonna sound so stupid, people who don't do stand up or don't watch a lot of stand up, but it changes depending on how long my fucking beard is, how long my fucking hair is. Like, it fucking changes.
Live in it.
It's very strange, but
play with it.
But point is, I'm getting rid of all that shit.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to write all my stuff and trying to figure out new stuff. But I look back and I was like, it took me a year and a half to get 10 minutes that mostly worked at a place like Casados. A year and a half to get to that. And now I'm trying to figure out how to make up like the back half of that set.
Bro, live in that.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty sure you heard me tell you that in class, like, that people are looking at you and they automatically form a judgment about who you are, what you're going to talk about and all that shit. And instead of, if you want to talk about that shit, you can talk about it, but find a way just to make it, like turn it on them. Like I said, if that people look at me and they, I come out, I'm a tall black dude, you know what I'm saying? And just immediately got locks, nose ring, you know what I'm saying, wear jewelry, shit like that or whatever and shit. Like, there's going to be misconceptions depending on who's looking at. Everybody's going to have their opinion of who you are, what you're going to be talking about and shit or whatever. And I can lean into that. Like, when I wear glasses, I talk about the fact that I have these glasses on, even though I don't fucking need them. You know what I mean? Or whatever and stuff.
You just wear them for style?
One, yes. Just because I'm that nigga. And two, they're going to have to bleep that out. We can't say that on improvised intelligence. You know what I'm saying?
The fuck you can. You say what the fuck you want.
Secondly, because it's just part of it. It's like, yo, like I use the fact that after I take them off, I'm like, yo, I just use this to make white people think I'm safe. And the white folk find it funny because it's like, and it's like I'm playing on the fact that, yo, normally, like once I take these, I don't look as safe as I do. You know what I mean? With the glasses on. And I understand that. It's the same thing with the beard. It's like people are going to have a misconception and you can play into that. You know what I'm saying? Into that misconception and still come out the hero. So like I know what I look like and then you can either talk about that shit or whatever. But also, you know, find a way to do it as you.
Yeah, and what I'm focusing on a lot now is I'm trying to get away from, because it's tough for me, this is where my sense of humor lies, trying to get away from the political stuff, try to get away from like the culture stuff, writing more about my life, experiences that I've had, stuff like that, because people's lives aren't really that unique, but it's just the perspective from which those experiences would get kind of like filtered through. Right, that's what makes them different. Yeah. And so trying to figure out all that kind of stuff and then how to write that into a joke properly and then make that relatable to connect to the audience better and just it's just less divisive.
I mean, just even talking about the military shit, try to compare it to, you know, your civilian life now or even civilian life and stuff like that and just like what it's like for you now being on the, you know, and I'm saying this as a 10-year military vet too and like haven't really talked about, you know, my military stuff neither. But
what made you want to stay away from it initially? Or I guess even like now, but like what makes you, is it just like it's not that interesting to you? I couldn't
find a way to find it, make it funny.
That's fair.
Like I couldn't find a way. And there's other people that make it work. And it's just like for some reason I just haven't found. And I have some funny, I guess, some funny stories and stuff in there. Things that I mean, we all do. Like military is a funny ass place. Like some of the dumbest. God bless America. Jeez, boy. I always thought that they say the Air Force is, you know, the smart branch. Like that's the branch where the nerds and blah 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 whatever shit. Yeah, you got to score real, you know, not real high on your ASVAB, but you got to score higher than all that.
Well, higher than a 32.
Yeah, but bro, some of, in fact, the dumbest people I've ever met in my life were in the Air Force. Like how you just know how to use a hammer, and that's why you were able to get in. Like the ASVAB was just like, what is this? It's a nail. Dude, okay, cool.
I'm like 99% sure that I took my ASVAB hammered.
Bro, you could have.
And I got an 88 on it. Like,
dude, I guarantee you probably did, Doug. It's not that I'm like, man, like don't let the smooth taste fool you, bro. There's some dummies in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just back to the topic. Like I just didn't, you know, having PTSD and all this. Like I didn't know how to make it funny.
That's fair.
And I just stayed like it. To me, it wasn't like. And when I started, it was my job still. Like I still was in when I started, so it was just like I don't want to talk about this shit. Like even though that should have been the easiest things to talk about because I was going through it at the time. Like I was in it. So, right. But just I was talking about everything else but that. And so it just always stuck to that. And I always said there's going to be a time when I'm going to, you know, just there's going to be a segment of my shit about that time. I just ain't wrote it yet, man.
That's fair.
So I don't know. I feel like it might be the, you know, I don't know how it is for you. Like what makes you want to talk about it?
Well, because it's so much of my life has been either military or military adjacent. Because I went through fucking 6 years of military school and then took there was maybe a 6 or 7 month period where there was nothing in my life to do with the military or a military environment or, again, military adjacent. And then I decided to try and join the National Guard, and I joined the National Guard. And then 6 years after that was all of it again. And I never, like, my formative years were all surrounding stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's all that I really, like, made a whole lot of sense anyway. And that was kind of like, again, talking about like filters and perspective. That's kind of the way that everything in my life kind of filtered through. And then, because I was just always in it. I was just always a part of like wearing a uniform or just anything, again, military adjacent or just being in the military. And then just again, like you just said, some of the dumbest shit that I've ever seen in my life happened in the military. And then what kind of made me, because even the stuff that I wrote about or talked about was like surface level kind of stuff. And to be completely honest, it was a very hacky way to get the audience on my side. Because I was just open with that.
Right.
I was just open with
I was in the military.
Yeah, because then I was like, yeah, I just got out of the military. Big applause. Then I just started to shit on the National Guard, call like the U.S. Army C team, like the weekend warrior shit. You know what I mean? Like not really talk. And then I would talk, if my beard was long enough, I was talking about getting like recruited by ISIS afterwards. Like, and it's just an easy way to get them on my side, get them relatable, so I could talk about the dirtier shit that I have in my set. But I don't know, like, but there was so much, especially towards like the back half of the 6 years that I was in, there was so much bullshit like that I genuinely just do not like and just hated about it, especially during the COVID years that I just fucking hated. I was like, I don't even want to. I don't want to joke about it because I just don't like it.
You don't want to remember it. You don't want to think about this.
Well, I don't even say like, yeah, there's a bit of that in there, but I also like I understand. Like I would, because I grew up like watching like Bill Burr, right? I would love to be able to have the ability and the demeanor to get up there and just yell. So I would just love to have that, right? Because that's what I do with my friends, and they laugh at me and think that I'm funny, but they've also known me for 15 fucking years. Yeah. I can't do that on stage because I tried that and it fucking failed horribly. So I know how I am on stage or how I present on stage, like I was saying a little bit earlier. You know what I mean? I know how I present, and if I were to talk about some of the shit in the military, to joke around about that, it wouldn't even go to funny. It would just go straight to angry. And I don't want to do that to anybody.
Right, exactly.
That's not fun for
Still
anyone.
needs to be funny at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Still needs to be funny.
I don't want to do that to anybody. So it's, and then again, I just don't want to get pigeonholed like a bro vet comic or like he's just going to talk about military shit or whatever the fuck it is.
Understandable, man. I mean, there's definitely a lane for that shit. Yeah. You know, there's definitely a lane. I don't think they do USO shows no more. I think they just canceled that like last year.
There's going to be a nice USO show in Gaza. I'll tell you that much. Coming up soon with Trump fucking... God, dude. And this is coming from a guy that voted for Trump. The moment that I started to see him... I need to see the whole press conference. I'm trying to keep up with as much as I can.
Yeah.
But the press conference with him and Netanyahu, I've just seen clips out of it, but where he's talking about we're going to fucking occupy Gaza and we're going to rebuild it and we're going to turn it into the fucking Riviera or whatever. I'm just like,
Lord Jesus.
I'm just like, no, dude, no. And then, because what I don't like about it, the amongst the few things I don't like about it, if you like more, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry, y'all be a drinker on his show and his show only, man, because I can't smoke in here.
It's just gotten to the point where, you know, when he was talking about, because people would ask him, like, okay, everything that you're saying, you are talking about sending troops to Gaza. Mm-hmm. And the best answer that he's given out of all of that was that we probably won't need to. And I don't like that. Like, dude, your voter base largely voted for you because you're the fucking no troops overseas guy.
Right.
And you kind of proved that for your first term. Like, you didn't start any new wars. There weren't any mass deployments. And then, you know, you were supposed to be the guy that's like, hey, we're not doing this anymore. And then when you start talking about, because again, I get it. Like, he campaigned on that, but at heart, he's a fucking real estate guy. I'm like, bro, but he's specifically the line that I pulled out of a clip that I saw of him speaking was, we are going to be responsible for diffusing all of the explosives in Gaza. And I was like, bro, who the fuck do you think is going to do that? That's the Army and the Marines. Those are combat engineers. And that is EOD.
I was about to say, we got EOD too.
Yeah, that's EOD on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Can we fucking because like on the
Me
one
and all the while the rest of the military is watching the border.
yeah, which like quite frankly, like I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with, and a lot of my Republican friends are not happy when I bring this up in conversation, but I'm not cool with calling the fucking cartels terror organizations. That's a bad idea. Like, that is a horrible idea. Because, like, on paper, if you were to write down on a piece of paper, cartels are terrorist organizations, it's like, okay, there's an argument for that. But then when you write that as a policy, well, what does that mean? In a post 9/11 world, what does that mean? And then when I break that down for my Republican friends, they're like, oh, yeah, that's not good. It's like, sorry, I don't want a fucking border war to spill onto our fucking territory.
I'm
sorry.
You know.
But anyway, my point is there going to be USO shows, but they'll just be at the golf course in Gaza. You can go right ahead.
And be at the Gaza strip mall. Look, man.
If they're going to build a Fogo de Chao, they're going to build a couple of Top Golfs.
P.F. Chang's in that
exactly.
bitch. It was like, P.F. Chang's? Y'all still eating that shit? Look, man. When last time you heard about P.F. Chang's, man? I'm just saying, bro. They had a moment. They had a summer.
They got a nice one over at
off
of the freeway, right? That's a nice one.
That's the only one
I've been there once. It's nice.
I ain't never been in that bitch. I like the little statues outside, though. It's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. As much as I would love to talk about this to you, black people are taking a break. So
I thought after the Super Bowl last night, y'all were back in the game.
Oh no, we're not back in the game. We're still letting people. We're still letting people. You know what I'm saying? Have their judgments and stuff. Here's the thing. Again, we have sat through some of the worst Super Bowl halftime shows in history with some of their favorite stars. And you know that the Kendrick took his 13 minutes to make a statement. It was not to be entertaining.
But what was the statement? What? Because that
America is going the wrong way, and especially when it comes to us.
Okay,
you know what I mean. That is going the wrong way. Now he's not pointing. You know what I'm saying? Whoever took what they like to say. What's the saying? A hit dog a holler. If you took offense to it, or if it made you feel away, then you were the people he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Or you were the person he was talking about. Or whatever the fuck. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of, like, again, as much as I would love to get into, like, politics and shit with you, you know what I'm saying, to sit here and talk about all this shit.
Say it.
You know what I mean? We're not going to do this.
Say it.
Because we're taking a break.
Say it.
But.
Well, because I should probably preface this. I am someone who is very much out of touch with the Kendrick Drake stuff.
Yeah,
like
but that was the end of it.
Yeah, I'm out of touch with that.
That stuff,
and I haven't seen the whole performance.
Yeah,
mind you, I've only seen the part where he's.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I literally watched like the last 8 minutes of it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big like football guy.
Bro, I'm out of it myself.
Yeah.
That the Super Bowl was the only football game I watched this year.
Because what was funny, because I literally spent my whole night last night in here playing Helldivers, and then
you gotta hit me up, bro. I be on that shit all the fucking time, bro. I stream it. I do all that.
We played it a couple of times.
Have we? Well, yeah. I feel like once or twice. Yeah,
it was twice.
Yeah, hit me back up again, man. I be on that bitch.
But I was like, fuck, it's like 8:30 and I need to eat dinner, and so I come out of here, started to make dinner, and I just got my phone. I was like, hey Siri, what's the Super Bowl score? And it said 40-6. And I was like,
beating the shit out of it. That.
So I turned it on. I watched like the last 8 minutes of it, but
that shit was aggressive.
But then I saw that, and then I saw fucking Serena Williams doing like a crip walk or whatever, and I was like, okay, well that's interesting.
Drake's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know the context.
Fucking, like I said, I put that as a post, and it actually did pretty good on social media, but it was surprising. But anyway, I put out a post and I just said, in households all across America, there's a white child explaining the Kendrick Drake beef to his entire fucking household. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't just white children. You know what I'm saying? But I think the white child made it funny because white kids listen to hip hop. Like they absorb that shit. That's who a lot of the hip hop stars say that's in the crowd when they go to concerts. It's white kids. You know what I mean? So these kids know the fucking shit. But anyway. Look, man.
So what you took out of it? What was the like message from?
Like I said, is that we're going the wrong way. Like this shit that's happening. You know what I'm saying? Is not what all these people claim to point back to their forefathers and all this shit and like what America was supposed to be, and that's what America turned into. This was they left England for religious freedom and all that shit. They were immigrants as well. So to be in here and like to treat immigrants the way we do now, if you're over here illegally and all that shit, that's a thing, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the shit that the Constitution even says, and it's just like, for this guy to be doing some of the things that he's doing and or trying to do, because they're actively trying to stop him. Some of these executive orders and shit. You've seen what's happened in the first. What are we? What's today?
Like
the 10th?
Yeah, we're like 3 weeks into it. 3.5. Yeah.
And you see what's happening. I'm like, look, yeah, we can believe what we don't believe, bro, but white Christian values was not what America was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't. It's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not. And even if it was supposed to be that, it's not that now. You know what I mean? There are too many. It's too many contributions from every race that has lived here to now be like, we need this to go back to this.
Well, because even for me, like, again, I voted for Trump. I'm a Christian myself. And so, like, for instance, a week ago, I think, it was like the end of, not even a week, maybe like the end of last week. I don't know the actual department name, but Trump started this, like, it's like how Doge is like not in the cabinet. It's like an outside. I got
continue.
But they started this different department that's like, I forget what it's called, but it's supposed to like protect Christianity or some shit, and it's being head, and I don't like this at all. I'm gonna preface it by saying this: I don't like this, and it's prefaced by this lady who's a televangelist, and it's on this. I forget the actual term for it, but it's like charismatic something Christianity, and what I don't like about that being adjacent to the government is A, they have a direct line to the president. And B, what that means is because you hear a lot, and I've heard a lot of this, where, especially after the assassination attempt, where there are people saying like Trump was saved by God to do this great thing and blah blah blah. It's like, well, I agree with the first part personally. I think that was a fucking act. If you watch like
bro,
like diagrams of his head turning right when the bullet, like, for me personally, that's a fucking miracle. I don't understand how that happened, first of all. And second of all, what I don't like is the second half of that sentence. I don't believe that anybody is ordained by God to do some holy mission. That's bullshit. And I don't like anybody having a direct line to any president, let alone Trump, anybody, telling him with any kind of authority, saying, hey, you were picked by God.
Right.
Because where has that led? And I don't like that at
God needs to say it. Like, how do we know that God told you and you specifically to tell Trump that now he's been sent?
Because nobody does.
Exactly.
It's bullshit. No, I don't like that at all.
I'm not against Christianity or any religion for that matter, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like the nation is being set up to be this Christian nation. And when it was supposed to be a nation of many religions, like, you're supposed to be able to come in here and worship how you feel. Like, that's in the fucking shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's just like, I understand that there's going to be beefs between those religions or whatever shit, but it should not be a deciding factor on how we run the fucking country.
Oh, no,
shit,
I
for
agree.
it to be under this one umbrella, no matter what people believe and shit. Like, I understand. Look, bro, as much as if I'm going to, I'm not very religious, you know what I'm saying? I grew up as Jehovah's Witness. I was Baptist and shit, or with my family, and then we did Jehovah's Witness stuff, and then now I'm just kind of out there or whatever, kind of rediscovering stuff like that. But if I'm going to say I'm something, I'm Christian. You know what I mean? Like, that's as simple as that. But it's just like, I feel like I don't know. It's just a lot. I don't think it's all religion. The religion, that's what's ruining everything. But I feel like they're trying to use religion, Christianity specifically, and just like other things, to like show why shit has to be done a certain way. That church and state were separated for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying because, like, as you bring back to what we were saying earlier in the conversation about we weren't founded with Christian principles, and it's like because it's like a half truth because we weren't founded as a Christian nation, but there were Christian values in the which I understand you get, but like because that's why I think where it should stay. Like because I think you can walk and chew gum at the same time. Like again, obviously I'm biased, but I think that there are tenets, the tenets of Christianity are a good foundation for any kind of organization. However, where it becomes, tyrannical or it becomes over-imposing is when you start telling people that they need to be Christian. Now, we haven't reached that point, and personally, I don't think we're going to. Personally, we got so much more time.
Yeah,
I personally, I don't think we're going to reach that point just because of where. Because, like, again, I don't agree with a whole lot of what the left has been campaigning on. Let's put it that way. They've been campaigning over the last, let's say, 15 years. But what I do enjoy about what they've contributed to the country is the amount of diversity and the amount of different voices. Because, again, like, is the average American, and even me, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but most people have a bullshit detector. And once that bullshit detector gets maxed out, it's like, oh, okay, that's a bit much. We don't want that. But like generally speaking, most people can find a middle ground. Generally speaking.
Don't let my face
no,
you
yeah.
up. I'm
I'm saying like generally speaking, you can find a middle ground. And I don't think that, like, again, I don't think that any religion, including Christianity, should be pushed onto people any kind of way. And actually, forcing Christianity on people goes against one of the main tenets of Christianity. That's odd. That's because one of the main tenets of Christianity is it's a voluntary surrendering and it's a voluntary belief in everything else that Christianity has to offer. And I don't agree at all, to be honest with you. I don't agree at all with like, and it's mostly from the hyper right wing people where like Christianity's under attack and they're this and it's like, well, I don't think now. Yes, is Christianity one of, if not the most made fun of or like openly mocked religions?
It's one of the largest religions on the planet.
No. Right. Exactly. It's like yes, but at the same time, there aren't organizations in America going around shutting down churches or banning. Except for COVID, of course. But but that happened to everybody.
Yeah,
it wasn't just.
Right,
Christian churches. It was
everything was shut down.
and to be completely honest, and I said this, and a lot of people in my close and personal circle got real pissed. But I don't agree with the fact that Calvary and I go to Calvary sometimes, but like Calvary and Sagebrush, they received those PPP checks for millions of dollars during COVID. And my whole thing is like, hey, churches, no matter what the denomination, churches should not be taxed at all. They should not be taxed. However,
I thought it was like that, right?
Right, it is like that. Right. They should not be taxed. However, if you're not getting taxed, you do not get to pull from the tax pool. You are not allowed to fucking pull out of that. That is not how that works. Okay. You don't get to leech and not get, like, because that's effectively what that is.
Can't contribute and not get. But are they running off I don't. This is getting deep. This is getting deep. I don't want to talk about this shit no more. But nah. I ain't gonna say that. It's just like it's hard to. It'll be hard for me to explain my side of it, let alone like I definitely can't explain it for all black people. I can't do that. I'm not the representative for everybody and shit. I just know I see the writing on the wall. You know what I'm saying? And how I feel is like a lot of the shit that's coming down the pipe is slowly but surely going to affect us. You know what I'm saying? In the worst way possible, just the way shit is looking to me. Because I know if you're going to fuck with one minority group, you're going to slowly trickle down and fuck with them all. You're going to start taking shit.
What do you
what I
mean? Like, just
like I said, like getting like even like with the shit with the immigrants and stuff like that, like getting them out of here. So they keep trying to say all of them are illegal, or these people are doing this or doing whatever and shit. They're not doing full flex background checks and investigations. They're rounding up people that look alike and they're getting them the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And even though the courts are trying to stop all the shit, or trying to stop birthright citizenship, or stop him from doing all that, I think that they're gonna start there, and then the DEI shit happen. Now, what people don't realize is like, yeah, DEI was there for the diversity, inclusion, and all that shit, equity and inclusion shit, but we're not the biggest beneficiaries of it. You know what I'm saying? They say DEI, but I don't think they mean DEI. They mean niggas, black people. You know what I'm saying? Bleep that one out, definitely.
I don't bleep shit.
Yeah, I know you don't, but I'm asking you to. Anyway, they mean us. Or they mean, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, yo, and that's why every time when somebody on the news say, oh, he's a DEI hire, it be a black woman's face up there or a black dude's face up there. It don't be no damn Asian or nobody like that. But it's affecting them. Because look, even with like they took the what was that? Not DEI. What's the one with schools? Affirmative action.
Yeah.
And all that shit. They took that away. And then you look at like places like Harvard and stuff like that. Guess, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't our membership that went down. Ours stayed the same. It was the Asians and the white folks, that shit that went down. A lot of like white women, stuff like that. Those are the people that benefit from those type of things.
Wait. So you're saying that when they took away affirmative action,
what I'm saying is they a lot of people, when they talk about affirmative action, when they talk about DEI, they look at black people as the ones that are the biggest beneficiaries of people that should not be in these positions. It's black people, then women, and it trickles down. You know what I mean? To what they think it benefits. But when you look at the actual numbers of the people that it benefits, we're not the biggest beneficiaries of any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're not. It's the people that ain't supposed to have it. It's not 9 times out of 10. It's white women. They're the biggest beneficiaries of it. Or like, that's what I'm saying, like all these other people. So it's like, yo, to be pointing the finger at us, but it's like, yo, again, for him to be like, oh, we're not celebrating what's that, Juneteenth no more? Like they're trying to take
what?
They're trying to. Don't make me open this motherfucking shit up, bro. We won't go in here. That's why I want to talk about this shit. We getting rid of all of this. I don't want to talk about none of this on my podcast, on my episode. This is your friend. I'm just glossing over stuff because I don't want to do no fact checking.
I'm asking questions. I'm just asking questions.
Nah, man. Like I said, man, I think it's different just being on our side of it because it don't look good. It don't look good when we've been in a country that never gave a fuck about us anyway. Just because I think people think just because black people are able to do well and get rich or whatever and shit that all of us can. It is not like that.
Well, because I would say this. Like, I understand. Not obviously, I can't. I'm not in the same situation, but like I understand why when you see just like when people see just these lists of executive orders or the headlines or whatever it is about like DEI getting taken away and all that related things, why people would be the way you're presenting is like why you would be concerned.
Yeah, but
in the direction the country is going,
because that's how it starts. If it starts out light and it don't look suspicious, you know what I'm saying? It's watch this hand while the other hand doing some crazy shit.
What are you concerned about then?
Bro, when has the country ever gave a fuck about black people, dog? When have they ever gave a fuck about us? So it's like I feel like there's just shit coming down the pipe. And I have no idea. This 4 years could go swimmingly. I could wake, you know what I'm saying? We could wake up at the end of this nigga presidency and be like, nothing happened.
Because
you know what I mean?
Because personally,
but that's not what he's setting it up to be.
The way that I see this 4 years going, personally, the way that I see this going generally is that I I really do not believe wholeheartedly. I do not believe that major civil liberties are being taken away from anybody. I don't believe that's going to happen.
They're not taken away from you.
I know. No. I'm just. I don't think like you're not going to see like obviously we're never going to go back to like fucking segregation like in the 40s and the 50s. Like that's not ever going to happen. But I think that so the major negatives out of all of this is that our allegiance to Israel is only going to get stronger. I think
should it be stronger?
No, of course not. No,
so that's not a benefit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's for the negatives. Like,
are they banning books about your history? Are they like I said, things that are supposed to benefit not just minorities, but as you can see, these things can benefit everybody.
Well, so here's a great example of
why they're taking those things away.
Well, so benefiting minorities, right? They've already said with Doge going in and auditing all of the government programs, they are not stopping funding to anything. Like Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, Meals on Wheels, the SNAP programs, any government assistance programs are not getting halted and they're not getting defunded.
So they're not gonna fuck with they're not fucking with the veteran shit neither, right?
So that's what I'm understanding right now. Now I've seen now I'm seeing so I've seen a lot of people post about how they're getting rid of. It wasn't funding from the VA. It was what was it? It's like a post 9/11. It was a bill that they're defunding or something like that, or some government action they were defunding. I haven't looked into it personally.
Was it not the PAC Act? Is it?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think Trump knows what the PACT Act is. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't think he knows a lot of this shit is,
but me personally, I don't think with somebody like Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth in the actual cabinet, I don't think they're defunding anything with the military. And in fact, I think it's gonna be the exact opposite, and they're gonna be overfunding the military again, like when they were trying to rebuild it after.
I'm not worried about the military. I'm worried about the people that ain't in it no more.
Well, right, but
two separate entities.
Well, the defense department, some of their budget goes to veteran benefits. So I don't think that any of that's going to get taken away. But they've already said over and over that they're not defunding any social programs at all. And so I don't see.
So why did he sign an executive order trying to get rid of that shit or trying to stop that shit?
Stop
what was that for?
Executive order for what?
For what was that he signed like maybe 2 or 3 days into his shit. Now again, I don't think it went through because they have courts to be like, nah, you can't do that. Blah, blah,
right. Blah. I know the birthright one's going through that, and at face value, I didn't agree with the birthright thing either.
That's in the Constitution.
Because it's in the Constitution. Now, J.D. Vance did an interview with Face the Nation, and the way he described it,
I'm gonna ask you something about him after.
Yeah, the way he described it, I mostly agree with her. He was like, yeah, if you are an immigrant coming in here and you have intent to stay and you've displayed intent to stay in the country, then yeah, birthright citizenship makes sense. But if you're somebody coming in that you're only staying temporarily and you have a kid here, your kid shouldn't be a president, or it shouldn't be a citizen in the United States. I agree with that, personally. Like, if you have zero intent to stay in the country and contribute to the country, like a lot of immigrants do, and you have a kid while you're here, now granted, how
do you tell the difference?
How
is
common
what I'm
is so I well
how do you figure out who has the intent to stay and have a child versus who doesn't have intent to stay and have a child? And that's one.
So
two,
again,
how do you stop them from having a child?
Right. Well, that's the thing is you don't stop them from having a child at all. You just say, okay, well, your kid is born here, not a citizen. And they're on this, and I'd imagine they'd be on the same kind of documents that you're in right now, whether it's in a temporary stay for either school or a work visa or it's like a vacation type thing.
Does that change the Constitution?
That's something the courts have to take care of because I personally don't know. That's so far out of my
right.
You know, my scholarly level.
I'm not going as deep as I want to, only because again. I don't want to talk about this shit.
No, but, it's fine. Yeah. We can talk about whatever we want. Oh, yeah.
But we having a back and forth and I fuck with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I like again, and I think it's gonna be divided even within your probably comment section, whatever and shit. It's hard for I think it's just period. It'll be hard for me to tell you about your life. You know what I'm saying? And the things, the hardships that you probably had, and all that shit. I'm not saying that, people of other races don't have hardships, don't have it as hard or if harder or whatever and shit. I know there are white folks out here that got it way worse than me. You know what I'm saying? They're, white privilege wear. You know what I'm saying? Like or whatever.
That's for a certain Theo Vaughn bitch. Yeah.
For certain people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the most part, like even I think sometimes when it come down to it, it's like even with those hardships, you standing on the street corner and me standing on the street corner, even if you are a bum, you know what I'm saying, could get a whole different reaction depending on who's around. You know what I'm saying?
I disagree with that. And I only disagree with that because I think people's
you can't disagree with something that's happened to me. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like things that have happened, where it's like, yo, that dude don't even have a fucking job, yo. Like, why are you fucking with me and I'm just standing here? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
It's weird. That's what I'm saying. Like, the way people interact with us are going to be too different. I'm not saying that we have, I can't get as much as you or do better, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Because, again, like I said, there are successful, black people, white people, Mexicans, Asians, whatever shit that make money and are able to, and nothing has stopped them. You know what I mean? Jay-Z is a billionaire, and that nigga was a drug dealer. You know what I mean? He's a billionaire, not a millionaire. A billionaire, cuz. So, you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah, I thought you were talking about something totally different.
Yeah, no.
I thought you were talking about comparing like homeless people based on okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay.
I'm just saying, even just at face value.
No, right. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You encounter
like,
somebody on the street.
Like,
Right.
Like, why are you fucking with me?
Right.
I'm just saying to try to cross the street.
Yeah.
This is in here actually asking people for money. I don't know. It's this shit is crazy, man. It's just like I don't know, man. I just don't feel until this year needs to pass by. This year, look at you. See, that's how I know.
That was before, by the way. That was.
Don't be trying to. That was before now, nigga. Look at this shit. You better zoom in when you do posts. Look at this shit.
That was before, but I got that one and I got this one as a 2-pack on Amazon for so you inflation. I got these in 2020. And it was $18 for the 2-pack. It was $18 for the 2-pack.
I fuck with Joe Rogan.
This was before the "my heart goes out to you" nonsense.
I fuck with Joe Rogan. I fuck with Joe Rogan because he's a curious dummy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Joe Rogan's not stupid by no means, but he's dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes he say some dumb shit. It's just like, and he know he say some dumb shit.
Yeah.
And he cool with that.
No,
I listen to Joe Budden, and Joe Budden says the same shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes he say some dumbass shit, bro.
They're just variants of each other.
Maybe it's just Joe. You know what I'm saying? Just Joe. Joe's with podcasts. I don't fucking know. Your boy is a weirdo. I used to think he was Tony Stark till I realized he never built anything. And so, he just has a lot of money.
He's an interesting. Well, he built PayPal. He's the reason.
I mean, yeah, he did do PayPal.
I was gonna say,
did he make a Paypal?
Yeah, he was one of the main coders. He was one of like 3 coders that made PayPal.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
okay.
And again,
I do remember him being on PayPal.
I'm not as well versed on his actual like the beginnings of Tesla and SpaceX, but I understand
about Tesla.
But I think what he did is he bought like what was like, again, I'm talking out of my ass because I haven't looked into him in a long time.
So please, y'all can fact check all this.
But yeah, what I remember reading is that he had bought like, because when they started Tesla, it was in the negatives for years because he had bought.
But that's what I'm saying though,
like the skeleton of a car company. It was like, no, we need to convert all of this to electric.
These idiots were trying to. I see. That's the thing, because I was in the Air Force when Tesla was at its infancy stages, like when they were opening, and they were supposed to open a plant here, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they finally opened up a dealership, and that's about it.
If I'm not mistaken, and somebody can, like I said, We are on Elon Musk's internet, so y'all can fact check this. I thought there was supposed to be a plan here, but I could be getting them also mixed up with Eclipse. But I don't know why, because when I was close to getting out of the Air Force, Eclipse was starting out here.
Okay.
But Tesla was supposed to open a factory out here to build shit, and they didn't.
That would have been nice.
But this was well before I'd ever heard the name Elon Musk. You know what I'm saying? When I saw that in the Air Force, I can almost remember where I was. It was kind of crazy when I was reading about this. But I mean, you think he the president for real? There's a rumor going around on the thing. No, listen. Just listen, Linda. Do you think he's president?
No, and I think what I like about his department is that I like that they're completely advisory. That's what I like. That's what I like about it, is that they're advisory. And what I do like is, did you see? I don't know if you saw this or not. So they were auditing the money that we're sending to Israel and where all that is going. And we sent $25 million, and I'm not making this up. I'm not making a racist joke. This is 110. This is for the audience. Like, I'm not making a racist joke. This is 100% true. We sent $25 million to the Shekel Association of Israel.
Shekels.
Yeah, the Shekel Association of Israel.
Okay, what is that? What is? Did you look up that organization?
Yeah. So they
look at him ready to go.
Let me try
on his phone.
Yeah, let me find it real quick because
y'all can't see what he's doing.
I'll pull up absolutely nothing and just pull it out of my ass. No, but they sent $25 million to this thing called the Shekel Association, and you were talking about earlier, or you asked a little bit earlier, should our relationship with Israel get better? And I'd say fucking no, because there's absolutely nothing that we've done on behalf of Israel that has made this country better, like at all. Where I thought I saved it. Where the fuck?
I got a couple questions to ask because I'm sitting there. See, that's why I brought my iPad, because I knew.
Where the fuck did it go? Okay, so that was okay, because my buddy sent me this and I didn't believe it. Okay, yeah. So this is when they were. I'll take that back. They were not auditing the money we were sending to Israel. They were auditing. This is during the U.S. aid audit that's catching fire right now.
Okay.
So okay, so that was to U.S. Okay, so American $25 million taxpayer dollars going to the Shekel Association, and it's through a charity fund. The exact number is $26,353,872, and $25 million of that were the government grants. So that's $25 million of taxpayer dollars. And Shekel. So Shekel is Israel's leading organization for inclusion of people with disabilities in the community. At Shekel, we believe in inclusion is a national priority that benefits society as a whole. And it funds independent living, vocational rehabilitation, cultural and leisure activity, therapeutical services, counseling, and accessibility. Now, my whole thing is like, okay, that sounds nice. However, why is that $25 million not going to this country, to our country, to help people that need that? Why is it going to Israel? That makes zero fucking sense. And when you look at, you asked a little bit earlier about why, like, should our relationship get stronger or weaker? Personally, I think we should start cutting ties, because again, basically everything in the last 25 years of this country that we've done overseas is on behalf of Israel. And everyone and anyone who's
that shit.
Yeah, and anyone who's listening to this, please fucking press pause on this and just look up in another Google tab a clean break. Just look that up. For the love of God, look that up and read it. And basically, I'm going to pull up the names because I want to get this correct. But basically what it was is our politicians wrote this letter to not anyone in the American government. They wrote it to Benjamin Netanyahu. It was led by Richard Pearl. And basically what it was an idea of how to destabilize the Middle East, take and including take down Saddam Hussein. This was written in 1996. In 1996, and it was basically like, hey, we need to take down Saddam Hussein, take over Syria, and eventually take over Iran. And it's basically how to destabilize the Middle East and put it in more power of Israel. And General, I'm going to lose his fucking name, but I'm going to look it up. It was the 7 countries in 4 years. It was a leaked strategy. Dude, I hate this shit.
His head going crazy. I want y'all to note that I tried to change the subject. I said I did.
So General Wesley Clark let this slip. And basically what it was a plan that we had it was starting with Iraq, and it was going to take down Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and then Iran, where we're going to take out these countries in 5 years so that we could destabilize the region, take it over, and then basically have the control go.
Should we take it over?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was like, should we be planning to take over any other country, and our country is on that bullshit? Why are we not handling home? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about this? I'm going to ask you, this was the last thing I want to ask you about, and fuck his picture, because the picture has nothing to do with nothing why I clicked on that. How do you just feel about him trying to fire the federal workers?
So the headline says, Judge extends freeze on Trump's plan to get millions of federal workers to resign. District Judge George A. O'Toole said the pause will continue until he rules on preliminary injunction. So
have you heard anything about him trying to,
So I know that they stopped the work at home stuff, and I know that they stopped...
So
what was it? It was work at home, and then
I'll give you just a quick, just a seriously quick thing. He put out a thing. I don't know when, and I wish I had all these articles saved. I feel like I do have some articles saved, but he put out an executive order, trying to get rid of these federal workers. He said, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll give you basically a severance package, and you can go away. Like, just don't report back to work on this date or whatever. Or, if you stay, we're going to fire you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to get rid of you or whatever and shit. And so that's what that is. And I'm pretty sure it probably explained it in that article. We'd have read a little further. Hold on.
Well, what I do...
But I'm wondering just, why... why?
So the federal government on its face is bloated, and I don't think
because they said if he fired those, however, he said even if 10% didn't come back of the workers he was trying to get rid of, they would save $100 billion.
So here's an analogy, and people can agree with this or disagree with this, but so look at Twitter. Elon Musk takes over Twitter, and they fire something like 75% of their employees, right? And Twitter's still running perfectly fine. They've had no major server crashes. I mean, they have like outages, but so did fucking PlayStation, right? Shit happens. But
that was a hack, I think.
yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
But like they fired 75% of their workforce. Twitter's still working fine, and it's completely operational. So you take that logic and apply it to the federal government. The federal government, by definition, dude, the fucking DOD alone, $860 billion budget, and we have, and you know this full well as I do, you have rank and file, lower end enlisted, working 2 jobs on food stamps, whatever it is, right? So,
but who are we putting that on? Just the government, period, or is there specific people we point at? Because that's been like that for a while.
Well, I think it's extremely poor management, and on the most, the nicest you can be about it is extremely poor management. The worst of it is money laundering. So it's like, where's all this money going to?
With the government?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. So it's like,
just saying, like, we're not pointing at the Democrats or the Republicans. This is
awful. No. This is awful. And I think like a big reason why a lot of these like deep state, but these like higher echelon individuals didn't want Trump in the White House. There's a big part of me that really does believe this, is because now with Doge going in and auditing, like, dude, they looked into Medicaid and Medicare for one day. It was on Friday. And they estimated that when they further go into investigation, they can save the country at least $100 million. And now if you look at the U.S. debt clock. So if you look at the U.S. debt clock, they added something for Doge, right? And as of right now, it's estimated, because it's just an estimate, and it hasn't been taken out of the budget because a lot of its money has been spent, obviously. But as Doge has been auditing the U.S. government, as of right now, they are finding just under $81 billion worth of wasted money. Right, exactly. So that's my point. It's like, so we probably have a lot of people in these government departments that don't need to be there, that are sucking up money that doesn't need to be spent on that.
You think it's just on people, though? I mean, here's the thing, because for all the money that they claiming that we're going to save, like, say, for instance, 10% of the workforce doesn't come back to the federal government, and we save $100 billion a year. Now, where's that $100 billion going? Whose pocket is that going into? What programs is that going to go into? Because you're canceling a lot of the programs. You know what I'm saying? You're getting rid of shit. So where's this new?
None of the public service programs are going away.
I understand that, but is that extra money going there? Is it going?
That's going to be the big question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they going to do with all this money that they're saving, these jobs they're shutting down, or these programs that they're getting rid of? The money that was allocated to those places, where is that going? And I mean, like I said, I know it's too early. So before anybody fucking flips the fuck out, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not gonna check the comments or none of this shit. So I don't give a fuck what y'all say about me or about this conversation or whatever and shit. You eat a dick. If you work up this early in the morning, if you wake up early in the morning to be a douchebag, then be that. And I'm saying this on camera. Give this camera one right here. Fucking, I don't give a fuck about none of y'all, bro. Like, for real. Like, I don't care. Your life don't make me none of how you feel about me. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make this shit interesting so this nigga can fucking clip some real shit and not me talking about fucking Trump bitch ass. I'm sorry. Don't arrest me for calling him a bitch. But
oh my fucking God.
Look, edit that too. Look, man. I'm just saying, bro. I wanted to come over here and talk about comic books, video games, and shit, because I ain't had no new comedy shit to talk about. I took a break, niggas. Like, this is the most the N-word has ever been said on this podcast. Look, man.
I mean, before you continue, I've been looking forward to this, just in general.
Cool. That's all. Look, man. I just want to come over here and just shoot the shit. You want to get into some fucking politics and shit. And as deep as I want to go, because like I said, I got shit. Like I didn't say shit for this.
No, you just have it saved.
This is because, I stream too. And I do, just cranking up shit. And I talk to a lot of people, and we talk about this stuff, man. But it's hard to, at least for me, you know what I'm saying? And this is only coming from me. It's hard for me to explain how I feel, or how I can't explain for how the black people feel, or minority, or whoever and shit in this shit when we're looking at it. You know what I'm saying? When we're looking at it from our side of it, everybody can be like, no, that's not gonna happen, and y'all can speculate, but it's like, bro, we have never been the most favored people out here. You know what I'm saying? And just because we can do things, it's because there's certain people that can succeed or whatever and shit, don't mean that shit is universal for every motherfucker. It's not. And it's just the same thing for white folks or whoever. Just because something is automatic for one of y'all does not make it automatic for all y'all. Because otherwise there wouldn't be no rednecks, there wouldn't be no hillbillies, there wouldn't be none of that. There wouldn't be them white people that white people look at like, oh my God. That white trash. There wouldn't be a term called white trash if it worked for everybody. Yeah. But it don't. Yeah. And so it's like, bro, like, y'all have to realize if it works like that on one side, it works like that. I don't know, man. I'm just, fuck him.
Fuck you.
That's all we want to be able to say just out loud without, getting canceled. You know what I'm saying? What else, man?
I'm convinced at this point, unless you do some real heinous shit, like unless you're on some fucking Harvey Weinstein shit, I'm convinced that getting canceled.
Glad you said Harvey Weinstein and not Bill Cosby.
Well, you know,
yes.
Well,
this is what I wanted.
Did you? Okay, so I was having this conversation with my chick a couple of days ago. So when Harvey Weinstein went to court, I forget who it was, but they had some actress come in and she was testifying against him in court, right? About her sexual assault experience with Harvey. And she was testifying and she was talking about how he had told her to meet him in the hotel room. And when she walked in, all he was wearing was a bathrobe. He drops the bathrobe and she couldn't see his dick.
Hey,
so she was just confused. But then,
penis.
yeah, so yes, but worse. Because then what happens is when he does fucking lift the fat up a little bit and exposes his dick, she thought, and this is on record, I swear, people can look this up. She thought he was a transgender.
Oh, shit.
Because
he had a big clitoris.
Well, because his dick had necrosis on it. There was a part of his dick that had necrosis. Yeah, bro. And then he could not. Yeah, look up. Yeah,
I know what necrosis is, but I just wanted to read the definition for the crowd. Yeah. For the lesson 4, you know what I'm saying? I was just gonna look up necrosis.
So then she was talking about how
dead dick ass.
She thought he was a transgender because of the necrosis, and then he had to inject something into his dick to get it hard. So then, like, I look at that and it's like, yo, like, look, he's an older guy. There was probably something in the back of his brain that was like the caveman shit where it's like, yeah, we need to fuck and reproduce, whatever. I'm sure there was some of that in there. But like 90% of his brain when he was sexually assaulting these people, at least in the last 10, 15 years of this shit, was strictly fucking power. It was just power over another human being. That is insane to me.
Bluetooth couldn't even help him. He needs a Bluetooth sponsorship, y'all. Improvised Intelligence.
Listen,
I'll take Bluetooth.
I'll take a Bluetooth. Hello Fresh.
Dude,
brother, I would love to get Copenhagen in this bitch. I would love to get Copenhagen. I would love to get Zen.
Keep saying their name. Zen. Hey, Zen. Y'all should be hitting. Let me see that real quick. Let me see. Look, I've been almost 5 years off of nicotine and shit. But if you want to quit, you know what I mean? Get you a Zen, man. You know what I'm saying? If you just trying to just, spit nicotine, you know what I mean? Like a velociraptor with the what was them shit? Dilophosaurus or whatever the fuck.
You know way more about dinosaurs than I do.
I do. I'm a dinosaur kid. Jurassic Park is my favorite movie. We're not gonna get into that. But Zen, baby, I'm trying to get you a sponsorship, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. There you go.
Brought to you Improvised Intelligence. Brought to you by Zen.
We didn't even cover that. Yeah, the big turning point for me, because I was just about like rebranding, because we talked about this before we started shooting. Well, because like, again, I didn't expect this to go longer than fucking 6 months. I really didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Podcast,
the podcast. I was like, I'm just going to do a thing with my buddies, see what happens. The thing that Joe Rogan does is pretty cool. Yeah. What if I just did? Whatever. And then it just started evolving. I kept doing it. I fell in love with that after the first episode, but it's like kept going, kept going. Got the good equipment. It's like, okay, now I gotta do it.
Get it out, y'all.
Yeah, so now I gotta do it. And then flash forward, a few years go by, and I was like, I like Only Kings. People recognize it, but it's like it started really creeping into my head where, because podcasts, unless your podcast takes off, podcasts have a ceiling. Local podcasts, low-level podcasts, they have a ceiling. But then, brands that are based off of lampooning, making fun of whatever, OnlyFans have a way lower ceiling. So I need to get away from that. And I feel like I haven't hit any ceiling yet, but like I need to get away from it while I'm ahead. And then what really made it sink in was doing Casadas. And I was hanging in the green room with Caroline Ray, and we were just talking, hanging out, whatever. And she asked me, she's like, "Oh, name of your podcast?" Yeah, she was like, "You have a podcast, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "What's it like?" We were talking about it, and the entire time during that conversation, I was like, "Please don't ask the name." And that's what made it sink in. Where it's like, I'm not proud of my own brand outside of like my friend group and like a couple of, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm not proud of it. Fuck, I need to get away from it. So that's when the seed really started growing, and I was like, I need to get something. And I asked a couple of friends, and I'll be honest, I ran it through AI, but AI is bullshit. And I was like, I don't.
Got me my podcast name. Go kick it.
But I was just like, I didn't like anything that was spitting out, and I was just throwing things around, and I was like, improvised intelligence. Yeah, that's what a podcast really is. Unless you're a highly educated individual on one study.
I like it.
Thank you very much. But that's what a podcast is. That's what I feel like I've been doing for the last 4 years and some change. It's just I read as much as I can, I study as much as I can, which is not a whole lot of time, but I spend as much time as I can studying and reading the things that I care about. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna run it and we're gonna see what happens, and that's what I came up with,
bro. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations on your podcast being as successful as it is with it being a local podcast. What I do like about your podcast is that I've seen people on here that I didn't know.
Awesome. That's the goal too.
And I got to find out more about people that I didn't know that were in the city. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh shit, these music artists, fucking, you know what I'm saying, whoever and shit. I think that's dope, and that's a thing that you have going that some of the other. I haven't listened to a shit ton of other podcasts out here like my, John Coyar and Alan. You know, they got potential problems, which is that podcast has been going for so long. That's like when I first started comedy. Right. I remember them starting that and like just being on it, always being a great podcast to go on. 10 Drink Minimum.
Shout out to Chris, dude.
And yeah, man, I don't mean to be naming other people's podcasts on your podcast.
Do it. That's what this is for.
These are, shit. Hi Guys with Black Mike and Luis for that little minute. Buck D and Six's podcast.
BS show.
The BS show. Great freaking podcast. We have podcasts that if I guarantee you, if we were to get stars on these podcasts, these would be like, man, because each of them brings something different to the table and shit. Your podcasts are long form. Like, let's say I think our first podcast was almost 3 hours, like bro.
3.5.
And we just shot the shit for real. You know what I'm saying? I've been on, the BS show. I've been on, and their thing is kind of, they got a set time, but they talk about they'll get into some shit and they want you to really be real with them. I'm trying to scratch the surface of this scene as far as podcasts are concerned. You know what I'm saying? The joint effort, it'll be coming out soon.
Say your pitch real quick, because we did that show at OT's like last week, and I liked your idea for the podcast.
Yeah. Oh no, and I've already done an episode.
Sick.
Yeah. And it'll be coming out soon. Shout out to Black Mike. Shout out to Juan. I don't know why I can't remember Juan's last name, but it's big ass Juan. Y'all know him when you see him.
Oh, Juan Adams.
Wow, Juan Adams. There you go. Juan
MMA
Adams.
Fighter, right?
Yep. Big motherfucker.
Yeah.
Shout out to Juan Adams. Shout out to Black Mike, Mike Ogden. Like I said, a podcast called The Joint Effort. It was just a stupid idea I came up with sitting out at Red Door one day, and we were smoking a joint, and I was like, we should do a podcast in the time it takes to smoke a joint.
Yeah.
And literally just had them come on. They smoked the joint together. I smoked one separately. Just it's like because it was where I was sitting at, it would have been hard for them to pass to me. But basically it's just a podcast we're gonna do in the time it takes to smoke one joint. And you know what I'm saying, then I'm gonna edit that down even further to about 4 minutes 20 seconds.
I think it's fucking great.
And yeah, and I'm gonna put out whatever footage I deem necessary. We'll put out the full podcast, like the full session, like because usually the best talks come after the joint is done, and that's where everybody's hiding. Really, that shit gets to settle in. And so I didn't stop recording. I just kept going, and we just kept bullshitting. But I'm just asking me reverend weed questions and just like. Just get people's opinion and stuff. I don't want people to think they're gonna have to come on and because I love podcasts where people come on and talk about themselves and like you get their backstory and shit. But I also love podcasts where a person that is about something, like I don't want it like even this podcast, I didn't want it to be about comedy. For real.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like shit. We talked about that the last time I came.
Yeah.
Like people know I do comedy. Let's talk about whatever the fuck you know what I'm saying? Like whatever the world want to talk about. And give my opinion on that shit. And so I feel like that's kind of what I'm trying to curate, just a spot where you can come and not do your job. Just because you're an astronaut. If you smoke weed, come fuck with me real quick. You know what I'm saying? And then,
well, that's one of my a favorite of mine that's local, the April Fools. They call it a mental vacation. I like that a lot.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
I just want you to get away from the norm, man.
And
I want to see what ChatGPT comes up with if I ask it to make you a logo for improvised intelligence, but we'll just
do it. Yeah,
continue.
I'm interested. It ain't going to change, but I'm interested. I have been curious because, again, you are a nerd like I am. How do you feel? This is kind of older news, but we're going to feel the ripple effects of it with Fantastic Four coming out here pretty soon, and they are going to start filming Secret Wars and all that shit. How do you feel about Robert Downey Jr. being Dr. Doom?
I love it.
Come on.
Here's the thing. I love it. No, listen. As far as the story that the MCU set up, it makes perfect sense to me. It makes because of the multiverse and all that shit. Why wouldn't there be a universe out there where Tony Stark, instead of becoming Iron Man...
Okay, so can I turn that on its head for a second?
Go for it.
So you're right. With the story that the MCU set up, it was... Because it's weird. Like, they took, obviously, a lot of inspiration from the Stan Lee, the Ditko books, but they took a lot of inspiration from the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, that too.
But where my brain would have went to is like, yeah, if you want to do the multiverse stuff, and I'm kind of, because like I go back and forth between being apathetic and being just like fucking stop with the multiverse stuff. It's being wrung out to dry pretty much, because where they've just flopped so many times. But my whole thing would have been like, okay. The MCU also built its foundation on giving, for better or worse, the definitive version of these characters that have been in books for decades, right? The definitive versions. So, wouldn't it have made more sense to do a proper Doctor Doom, a proper Victor Von Doom from Latveria, and everything that comes with that, right?
How do we not know how do we know that this Dr. Doom is going to be named Tony Stark?
Well, because they've said it's a variant of Tony Stark. Yeah. So it's like, okay, wouldn't it have been better to do that? And then...
I spelled the name wrong, but,
Yeah, you added 2 S's.
No, it added 2 S's. Okay. I know how to spell improvised, sir. Sorry. To interrupt what he was saying.
It's neat, but it's loud.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I want to get away from Only Kings too, is it's a little loud for me.
Is it?
Not like loud,
but
but
talking about with like
it's just too stylistic.
I see what you're saying with the font.
Yeah. I like that because it's just super simple.
Nah, I fuck
it's
with
to the point. But my whole thing is like, why not do a proper Victor Von Doom? Because there's, again, no matter how popular the MCU has gotten, there is still a large swath of the population that has never read comic books past like a random Batman or a random Superman, whatever. So why not establish Victor Von Doom in the movies? Because that's their first introduction to that character. Who is Victor Von Doom? Who is this character? Establish that person, and then do the variant of Victor.
I don't believe anything until the movie comes out. So just because they're saying that there's a variant of Tony Stark, I don't believe it until the movie comes out. You know what I'm saying?
But people have attached Robert Downey to Tony Stark so much. Again, because I agree, like it makes perfect sense to me. Because like, what if in a different universe, Tony? Because there is a universe like that. It's called. I have the trade of it out there. It's oh my god, it's gonna bug me. But it's I have the trade out there. It's written by Bendis. It's Iron Man. I was looking up Iron Man, Doctor Doom. It is called Infamous Iron Man, and it's basically where
is that when Victor Von Doom took over for Tony Stark?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, but
So it's a version of that. So I get it, but it's like, why would you not establish? Well, it's the same thing as Silver Surfer, where it's like, I get it. Not a lot of people know about Silver Surfer, and that's fine. But the people who do know about it, why are we not doing just the original Silver Surfer, but doing the? Because that's the one people associate with it the most.
That's the one that the comic book people associate with the most.
Right.
People that had never seen the movie, because you got to think about who, you know what I'm saying, your big consumers, are going to be the comic book heads.
So why not placate to them?
I don't, because they don't need to, because the story doesn't placate to them all the way. It only gives us bits and pieces of the shit we really want. You know what I'm saying? Like it's to me, the MCU or these, I always set them apart in a whole, the reason that I like that the reason I hate that they said that MCU is 616.
Yeah. Didn't like that either.
That's probably my biggest complaint out of the entire the whole Marvel Disney shit, is that the fact that they said that this Marvel MCU universe is 616.
For people who don't understand why that's significant, could you explain
I
that?
can.
Yeah.
I definitely
Because it's significant.
So, in comics, you know what I'm saying, and in Marvel in particular, the Marvel comics, the multiverse is a thing. It wasn't made up for the movies. It's actually a thing. Our dimension, or the comic dimension, the one that we read in comic books as human beings, as real live people, is 616. Is designated as, world or universe or whatever, 616. That is where Spider-Man is Peter Parker, a white boy. He got bit by a spider. Where Wolverine is 5'3", and you know what I'm saying, where Captain America was a white dude. You know what I'm saying, where the first Captain America was a black guy. But you know what I'm saying, we're gonna get into that. But anyway, but yeah, the world that we read in the comic books is 616. So, with that, any other variant of any of those comic book characters where their origin is not the same, they exist in a different universe. So, if it might be 90210.
Right, it's designated by a numerical.
By a numerical number. So, to give the MCU the designation of 616 is now saying that is the original continuity of Marvel, and that this is how Spider-Man was origin, this is how Iron Man was origin, this is how Captain America was origin. So those movies technically are supposed to be the true origins of these characters. But they shouldn't be, because this is alternate from what happened in the actual comics.
It's an interpretation.
Yeah.
So then it's like, by that logic, shouldn't they have done original Silver Surfer, original Doctor Doom? If this is the 616,
no, because they didn't do it original with anybody else. Iron Man didn't lose his fucking. He didn't get fucked up in the Iraq War. He got fucked up in Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna. You know what I'm saying? Go off of what 616 did.
But changing a scenario and changing a character are so different.
I don't think so. But I agree with you in the fact that because they put the designation 616 on it.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
but
it should be a copy paste.
Because I you know what I'm saying, it's hard. It's hard for me because I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I'm also with people because I know why they did it. They can't make these movies where it's so deeply entrenched into comic lore, where normal people that would never pick up a comic or have never walked into a comic book shop or have ever watched or read any of this shit can get it. And some of the stuff that happened when these comic book characters were origined don't make sense today. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the shit that like it would make more sense if it happened. Like I said, it would make more sense to introduce Iron Man in during the war with Iraq and Afghanistan or whatever, instead of or having it happen certain ways, having certain things happen certain ways, because it's just like it makes more sense now that we know more about technology. Now that we know more about, you know what I'm saying, like how the human body works or blah, 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 whatever and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, this actually couldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? But even though they are fantastical stories. So I dig it in the fact that it brings in people. I'm able to talk about my favorite, some of my favorite shit with people that have never read a comic book.
It is crazy to me, to your point, it is crazy to me that somebody like Star-Lord or Groot is a household name. That still blows
insane. And because those characters don't mean shit. They mean shit, but they don't mean shit.
But they're like C-list characters.
Exactly.
They're like C-list. Like what I really enjoyed is like they started doing it in like 2008. 2009, around there, in the Marvel books, where if you're reading like a big event, it would literally show you a cast of characters as the first page. It was like, these are all the people who are in play.
Yeah, who's playing.
And like at the very bottom, you would see like Mantis, Star-Lord, fucking whoever. Yeah. And now they're like household names. And I'm trying to write a bit about that, where it's like, I used to get bullied for comic books. And then now it's like, if you don't like a comic book character, you're a fucking weirdo, which is crazy to me. But anyway, but my whole thing is like, I've never understood with comic movies where it's just comic book properties in general, where it's challenging to take, because like these characters are beloved and they sell well and they have an audience for a reason. And it's not just like a book where like with something like Harry Potter or Game of Thrones, where you just have text and you have to interpret what all these look like, and you have to like take, maybe some characters have like strict descriptions, but others may not, or scenarios may not. You have to really interpret. It's the artist's filter. But with comic books, you literally have a template of what the shit looks like. And especially if you're looking at something like this is a very easy example, but if you look at something like Alex Ross with his art, where it's the hyper realistic stuff,
where it always looked like he just took an actor and fucking put him in a Superman costume.
No, exactly.
It's all,
exactly. So it's like you have stuff like that on the very extreme end, but you literally have pictures of what these things look like. Just take that and make it a fucking movie. How hard is it?
I had a question for you. And this might be, and this can kind of tie into what we were talking about earlier, but you know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about race or gender swaps on characters?
I go back
truthfully.
Okay, so I'll give you a great example. MJ, Zendaya. Here's a great example. So for me, I always thought that if you're going to race swap a character, fine, whatever, but keep the essence of the character. Keep the main tenets of who this character is and make them that person, right? So then I look at MJ, like Zendaya's version of MJ. It's weird. It's like if you look at MJ in Homecoming, it's like she is this weird, mellowed down,
aloof.
Well, no, she's like,
I know what you mean.
She's like this weird version of Gwen Stacy from the Ultimate Comics, where she's like this rebel that like she doesn't fuck with anybody and she doesn't take no shit from nobody. Okay. But then she's also kind of like, aloof and like not that. But then they didn't even make her Mary Jane. They made her Michelle Jones, but they still called her MJ, where my big problem with her was like, look, would I like to see, like personally, because I've been reading the books for so long, would I like to see a chick that's white with red hair? Yeah, that'd be great. But if we're not going to do that and we're going to make her black,
we gave y'all that.
But right,
nobody liked her either.
Well, because Kirsten Dunst, like they tried to do it right, but like they just didn't give her the best writing. Like that was more of a writing department than it was. But they still had her. What I will say about Kirsten Dunst, they still had her Mary Jane, where it was like she's going for like the supermodel, the actress stuff. That but they never really fleshed that out. But with like,
look where they started. I just want you to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Now look where they started with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He was in high school. and they gave him a Mary Jane in high school.
Well, MJ
They
was in
didn't
high
even
school.
give us, not when he met her.
In the books?
And not in the comic books, she wasn't in
In
high
the
school.
Stan Lee-
She was a fucking model.
She was a
already.
model. That's right. She was older than her.
Yeah,
That's right.
he
That's
was
right. That's
already.
right.
He was out of high school and everything when he met Mary Jane. He wasn't in high school then.
Right.
So
Right,
they
right,
were
right.
grown. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And so
right.
we don't know. One, we don't know what Mary Jane was like in high school. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of
That's fair. No, that's fair.
So and that's because I felt the same way. I was like, this is a weird interpretation of who Mary Jane would be. When I saw the movie, I felt the exact same way as you did. To me, whatever race they are makes no difference. And I think like a lot of time I take it as, this is a microcosm or whatever. I don't even know if that's the word I'm looking for. This is what the world looks like for real. You know what I'm saying? There are black kids, white kids, Asian kids, whatever the fuck at your school. You know what I'm saying? You're not just going with your same race or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? It does, and it might make more sense. Like with this new Spider-Man cartoon that's on Disney now, Norman and Harry Osborn are black.
Right. And I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but I got to be
First
honest.
of all, the show is fucking amazing.
I was gonna say, the first 2 episodes that I've seen, and whoever made the trailers for that show need to get fired. Needs to get fired. Those were some of the shittiest trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But watching the actual show, I was like,
good.
this shit's actually pretty fucking good.
Show's good.
This shit's actually.
It constantly gets better. I just watched I can't remember how many episodes. I watched at least 3 episodes today, past the second episode. I think I was on the third. I watched 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
Really good episodes. But
to finish my point about Mary Jane, so it's like when you get into No Way Home, she's starting to become more of the very confident Mary Jane, but when she's with Peter, it's like like she's confident in public and then loving and like doughy and whatever around Peter, which is a very much
I think the story
Mary Jane.
didn't lean to her being a like. I don't think the story lent to her being anything but that.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Because I thought of her in that movie was like she was confident, but then because I don't know how to say this without sounding fucking misogynistic.
You gotta say.
But she was confident, but then willing to recognize that her boyfriend's a fucking superhero. You know what I mean? But then, so here's a great example about the flip side of that. What I don't like about race swapping is this hasn't happened yet, and I don't think it's going to with the popularity of Miles Morales. But the way they handled making a quote unquote black Spider-Man was in the Ultimate comics, where Peter dies, and then Miles, a brand new character, takes over the mantle. That's a perfect way to do it because you create a whole new character for people to love. And you're not just doing this because, at its absolute worst, race swapping can just look lazy. You know what I mean? It can look lazy and it's like you're pandering. But if you create a character like Miles, who is now beloved because of the Spider-Verse movies, you now have this character for people to latch onto, where it's like, all right, great, we have a fucking Spider-Man addition to the universe.
But I don't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I see. That's again. That's I think where we get off at, because I don't think a lot of the time the race swapping is for pandering. I think everybody looks at it as for pandering. When they actually, if you look at the story of some of these characters, sometimes it would make more sense if they were a different race.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Or it would fit better with the character. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh shit, this person is being, like I said, with the Spider-Man shit, I remember when Miles Morales became a character. You know what I'm saying? When fucking the ultimate Peter Parker died.
Yep.
And then they did all that, and it was a fucking a storm of hate.
Yeah, I remember
because
that.
it was just you know what I'm saying? And not only because they were hating because he was a black character, but not only he was black and
replacing Peter,
Hispanic, and replacing Peter because Peter Parker died. You know what I'm saying? And it was just and then not only that, but bringing him into, because I don't like what they're doing with Miles Morales now. This nigga's got new powers every week, it seems like. Fucking a new costume every 2 weeks.
Because the electric shit wasn't in the comics, was it?
No, it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
I just don't remember that.
Very first, he could turn invisible. They had the
I remember the invisibility.
Bioelectricity, all that shit. Right off the bat.
I still remember the electric shit.
Yeah, all that stuff was right off the top with Miles Morales. You know what I'm saying?
The Michael Bendis run.
Yes. And the very first,
I just got to reread that then.
Yeah, reread it. He definitely had the bioelectricity powers right off the bat. He couldn't control it at first. He used to sting, you know what I'm saying? They called it venom, like a venom sting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's like...
So here's a good example, right? So with Silver Surfer, like I was saying a bit earlier, I want to see what the story looks like in the movie, but I would have just preferred that they started with the original Silver Surfer. That was the Herald of the Galactus.
Nobody cares.
And then gone to the female
Who cares about Silver Surfer?
The Silver Surfer fans, like comic fans.
Who?
Comic fans.
3 people.
But it's...
Are you a Silver Surfer fan?
Not as much.
Exactly.
Not like that.
You know who Silver Surfer is.
Yeah.
But does it matter in the movie that he be established first as a white man? You know what I'm saying? If he's a silver, if he's a chrome,
dude,
silver, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, from wherever the fucking space
and it's just a preference.
Why does
thing.
that matter?
No, it's only a preference thing.
Exactly.
It's a preference thing.
So, but that's what I'm saying. But look where that preference, look how the preference thing gets in the way of possibly the story. Why does why does him being a man or his race have anything to do with how the story should develop?
Now you're giving Marvel a little bit too much credit because I
know it ain't them. I know it's not them.
No, but I just don't think Marvel is gonna make. I don't think they're gonna turn the fact that this Silver Surfer in the film is gonna be a chick. I don't think they're gonna make that as a great part of the plot.
They're not. They're not gonna mention it at all. It's going to be there. The only people that are mentioning it are the people that are mad that it's not Norrin Rad.
I see what you're saying. That's
you know what I'm saying? That they're mad that it's not Norrin Rad, a fucking white dude, bald white man on the skateboard. When in the other Fantastic Four movie, it was a ambiguous silver bald dude, and his voice was fucking
Lawrence
Fishburne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people were mad that he was his voice.
Really? I was young when that came out.
You know what I mean?
I was young when that came out.
That's what I'm saying. So, why does it make a difference for a fantastical, fictional-ass character that does not matter? You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. Because somebody's going to come back. But like, so what if we made Black Panther white? Why would that make sense? That's what we're saying. This is where the difference happens. If you're going to make the change, race swap or do whatever, it has to make sense.
I agree.
It would make sense for Danny Rand, who is fucking the Iron Fist, to possibly be Asian. You know what I'm saying? Like what they have done in the Marvel comics now, where he's changed. But I do understand why the story went the way it was. And why Danny Rand is a blonde white man.
Well, I always thought the whole point of him being, again, I've not read the only Iron Fist stuff, like specifically Iron Fist, and not even specifically because it was Luke Cage, but outside of like crossover stuff.
First of all.
Yeah. The only like Iron Fist books that I've really read are the Heroes for Hire.
Yeah.
But from what I understand about Danny Rand's origin is that he got picked outside of the...
he beat the dragon.
Right.
What I'm saying is,
but they're looking outside of their normal.
I understand why. If you're going to make an Iron Fist character, Iron Fist is Danny Rand, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Him being, like you said, part of the story of him being the Iron Fist is that he's an outsider.
Right.
He's a blonde haired, blue eyed white dude that crash landed or whatever, found Kunlun and you know what I'm saying, did his thing and shit. But I understand I understand people being mad. I don't even know if people are mad about that shit or whatever. But I understand it. You know what I mean? But there's like, I think certain characters were a product of their time. It's because of when that character was invented. This is what the world reflected. You know what I'm saying? To me, it would be weird for somebody to make an X-Men movie and make Storm white, a white woman. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that would make no sense. They would never do it, but it would make no sense. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because she goes and marries Black Panther and she's the queen of Africa. Like, bro, she was born in Africa.
Yeah. Fucking being African is part of her origin. Some of these characters that they do race swap sometime, being white is not part of their like psyche. is like it's just the fact that they were made when they were, you know what I'm saying, when at a time when it's like, yes, this could be a white character. I don't think any of them being white is a inherent. I think some of these characters could make sense being a different race, and whether it's black or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They could be any of the different races.
Okay, I see what you're arguing.
They don't need to be black to be that character. But like Storm in particular, because of her background and everything like that, it's like it would make less sense to swap her to being a different race, because it's like, okay, how are you going to, you know what I'm saying, like explain this, and this. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like there's certain characters, like I said, if Captain America, the original, like when Captain America the movie happened, they would have been like, yeah, we're gonna have Michael B. Jordan be Captain America. I'd have been like, what?
Well, that was the whole thing with it was funny watching fucking WB try to backtrack when they were like, yeah, we're gonna make a black Superman after the whole Henry Cavill stuff was happening, like 2018. Be like, wait, what the fuck? And then Warner Brothers had to backtrack, like, no, this is gonna be Val Zod. Wait a minute.
I mean, but Val Zod is a character.
It's going to be Val Zod. Wait. We just meant Val Zod. Just kidding. And I never thought that was actually ever going to be a movie, because in what fucking universe are you going to fail a DC universe and not do that properly? And you're going to do Val Zod from Earth 2? That's weird. But yeah, I would.
Same.
It was just interesting to watch.
I felt the exact same as you.
Yeah.
But I was like, as soon as they said, okay, it was like, yeah, we're going to, take Michael B. Jordan, we're going to make him Val Zod. I was like, okay, cool. Val Zod is a character.
But they haven't succeeded with Clark Kent yet.
Yeah.
You need the template.
Yeah, it's true. You need the template, but if this is the movie industry we're talking about, sir, and if you tried something several times now and it hasn't worked, why not try something different?
Well, so I would, now granted, I'm gonna state this because anyone who's watched this podcast or knows me knows I'm very biased towards Zack Snyder's Justice League stuff, and I'm very biased towards his DC stuff.
Biases on the good or bad side?
Both. I mean, honestly, both. Because
I see.
I adore everything about Man of Steel, BVS, and his Justice League. I just think that people, because those movies came out, and understandably, because this is the height of Marvel. This is from 2012 to 2017. Yeah. This is the height of Marvel. Yeah. So literally Justice League came out at the same time, or just before Infinity War. So it's like you're comparing
one of the dumbest decisions.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they rushed it and all that stuff.
They put the worst version of it out.
I disagree with that.
You don't like the Snyder Cut?
I love it.
That's what I'm saying. Why didn't they put the Snyder Cut out?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. What they put out in the theaters versus what the movie actually was.
Because that was a poor business decision, and it was them being horrible people because they used the suicide of Zack Snyder's daughter to get him out of the movie to bring in Joss Whedon and do all that fuckery with it. But my point is that where the Marvel movie, they did it right. The origin of the character, build them up. Because like what I like about Marvel generally is that the best analogy that I've had for Marvel is that Marvel is ordinary humans ascending to gods. And DC is gods being humanized. Yep. So when you're comparing these movies, and what MCU did is that they were humanizing the characters from the beginning, showing them the best parts of these characters up front, and then doing it the back. What DC did is, okay, you know these characters. You know who Superman is. You know who Batman is. Wonder Woman, all these people. Okay, so we're going to basically take these characters, thrust them into our world, give them real world problems, and then we're going to mold them into the characters you know them to be. Right. We're going to start Superman as somebody who's lost and confused. He kills his first enemy, and he's trying to...
I love that.
Me too. But people hated it.
I don't know why.
Because Superman doesn't kill.
Yeah, I understand that, but it was so...
Even though Christopher Reeve killed
General
Zod. My point is, they made Superman be a part of a bleak world that we live in a post 9/11 America. And how does he ascend to being the Superman you know? Maybe he has to die. Maybe he has to die, and he gets resurrected, and he comes back to save humanity. Same thing with Batman.
He's talking that shit.
What I love about the Ben Affleck Batman was that we know that Batman doesn't kill. We know that Batman doesn't use... God, you got me fucking started. We know that Batman doesn't use guns. So what if you have a 20-year Batman with a with a implied history where it's like, okay, he's already lost. He's already lost older. Robin.
Yep.
He's already fought the Joker. He's probably already lost Batgirl. She's already paralyzed somewhere. He clearly has a rocky relationship with Commissioner Gordon, probably because of what happened to Barbara. Him and Alfred aren't on the best terms, clearly. And so he's been with for 20 years.
Do you see Robin in any? I mean,
no, you just see the suit.
You don't see Alfred. Yeah, you see the suit. You see Alfred
in
any?
Yeah, he's Jeremy Irons.
That's right.
Yeah, so then you have a Batman where he's like, okay, I'm Batman for 20 years.
Do have a salty
all this bullshit has happened, and now there's a dude in a colorful suit leveling Metropolis. Fuck this. I'm using guns. Fuck this. And then, and I get it, the execution was not the best. I can admit that. But that whole Martha scene, what's important about that scene is that is where the movie makes or breaks, because you have a Batman that is clearly, he's not like the Punisher doming people, but it's like, hey, if you get in my way, you're gonna die. Sorry, I'm trying to kill a god. Sorry, you're in my way. But then when he has God under his boot and he's about to spear him, he has now become Joe Chill. He has become the dude that gunned down his parents in the alleyway when he was 8 years old. He has now become Joe Chill. So it takes the love interest of Superman to come in and say, no, he has a mother. And he realizes that his mother and Superman's mother have the same name. This was just a kid that was raised on Earth, and he's trying to do the right thing. And he realized
that Martha made him snap out.
Exactly.
Snap out of it. Just like, wait a minute, just for a second.
And you think that someone like Bruce Wayne, like if you really were to put, like Snyder did, if you put Bruce Wayne into our world, that he wouldn't have the most visceral PTSD ever?
Oh, God.
So, of course, it makes him go a little fucking insane for a few minutes, and he throws the spear, and that's why he tells it. The first thing after he picks up Superman is Martha doesn't die tonight. Because fucking, 30, 40 years ago, however old he is at this point, Martha died. So he's like, Martha does not die tonight. So he's then
like,
what we
you going to say your mom, we'll handle this later.
Exactly. So now it's like, okay, now we're not only going to save your mother, we're going to save the world. And then now that we know through the leaked, and now actually eventually published storyboards, we know now that his Justice League trilogy would have ended with Bruce Wayne sacrificing himself for the world so that they could eventually beat Darkseid.
See,
that sounded
real Tony Starkish.
For real. Well, there was a weird rumor going around that because there were a couple of people that had left Warner Brothers and went to Disney, and they like saw the plans and were like, "Hey, y'all should fucking."
I don't know
how real that
story is. Look, man.
My point is, but DC did the dark into the light, and Marvel did light into darkness, but then eventual light at the end with the winning of the Avengers. And with everything that was fun and happy about Marvel, people put those expectations on DC, where that was just unfair. Because how ridiculous is this, right? How ridiculous is it that the fact that BVS, it ended its theatrical run with like $860-ish million. That's an incredible feat. But because it didn't make $1 billion, they considered it a failure.
I mean, that happens all the time. Video games, whatever the fuck. The games that are critical successes with the fans, but not a success as far as sales are concerned.
Well, Wukong's a great example of that.
Look, man. Look, I think DC rushed it.
They did, for sure. I agree with that. I think
trying to catch up with 9 or 10 years or however many years it was established when they tried to crank up Man of Steel and BVS and all that shit. They rushed it. And they didn't give everybody, like you said, Marvel did the thing of taking 10 years to develop backstories for certain characters, to develop this whole epic, and to get to Endgame, you know what I'm saying? Just to get to Endgame, like they almost like they knew what the ending was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? It made sense. Like at a point, I don't think somebody coming from DC and telling Marvel, hey, they're gonna kill Batman at the end of these 3 movies.
Right.
As
That's why it's
opposed
shaky.
to
Yeah.
as opposed to already knowing that you're the dude that pretty much started this epic, you know what I'm saying, was going to be the one to save the epic at the end
Yeah.
and sacrifice himself.
It has to happen.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
Like the way they wrote it, like I said, to me, those 10 years was some of the greatest movie storytelling we've seen as far as like just connected movies in a universe.
There
nigga.
will be nothing that will touch that. Ever.
Went to the movies. I watched that movie the day it came, but in game, the day it came out at the movie. I don't like to go to the movies when there's a lot of people there.
Oh, you don't?
I hate it.
I love it.
I hate it.
I used to love it. I
hate it because people will ruin the movie. Like people like the non-fans. But that day, I knew for that movie, some just told me, it's like, no, there's going to be people that have been watching for the last 9 years that have been waiting for this moment. And when I got it, like, if that wasn't the greatest movie experience I've ever had in my life was watching Avengers Endgame. That is the greatest movie experience. Like being in the movie. The only thing that comes close, the first time I saw Jurassic Park as a kid. I'm dead ass. People think I'll be playing when I say that Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. It's not a game, cuz I was a dinosaur kid, bro. So to give me that, even though it was 93, you know what I mean? To give me that is crazy. But to take 10 years worth of emotions and fucking just watching movies and getting like, this person, Black Panther, will appeal in this movie, or Captain America will be back in this movie. Seeing the end credit scenes that's going to lead it to the, oh shit, what's that mean? What's that going to, and to give me man, come on, bro.
It's unmatched. No. It's absolutely fucking unmatched. Like
crazy.
I remember watching Endgame for the first time. It was the premiere weekend, Friday night. It was me and 9 other friends. We had our whole section fucking lined out, and yeah, that was just. It was, and they did they met. Now, granted, you rewatch Endgame, and yeah, it has its problems. It's time travel. Yeah. It is what it is. But there is just some magical shit, like calling back to the first Captain America. Bro. When the doctor is talking to Captain America and he goes, not a perfect soldier, but a good man. Mm-hmm. And he picks up Mjolnir and Tony Stark snapping his fit. Bro. All of that is just, it's unmatched. It is because, like you just said, you spent time. For me personally, I think the nail in the coffin where Warner Brothers fucked up and Marvel just soared was Guardians of the Galaxy. Because when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, that was August of 2015, and that was right after Comic-Con. And what happened in that Comic-Con of 2015 was they released the final trailer, or the first trailer for Suicide Squad, and then one of the final trailers. The first major trailer for BVS. And what had happened was everyone loved those trailers. That was great. But then Guardians came out, and Guardians is this team that nobody's ever heard of, this ragtag group of criminals that comes together to save the world. And everyone loves it. So then the Warner Bros. Executives goes, we need to make Suicide Squad. We need to make it more Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you want a great, because you're way into this shit, watch John Bernthal's podcast episode with David Ayer. Because they sit down and they talk about what happened with Suicide Squad and how the executives came in and just butchered Suicide Squad into what we got it, the final product was. Because even for people watching, if you just look up Suicide Squad Comic-Con trailer, and then watch Suicide Squad trailer 1. They are completely separate entities. They are completely, like, this one for the Comic-Con is very dark. It's the Suicide Squad. It should be dark.
Reminds me of what was that? The not X-Force, was it X-Factor? Which X-Men movie. It wasn't an X-Men movie, but it was one of the other sub teams that they came out when it was almost supposed to be a horror movie.
Oh, the New Mutants.
New Mutants. There you go.
I've yet to see that, but I heard it was horrible.
Horrible.
I heard it was so
bad. Horrible is horrible is crazy. It's not the best movie, but I think what it was supposed to be.
I love the
as
idea of it.
opposed to what we got was totally different.
Well, because the idea was supposed to be, what if these kids get mutant abilities? What would that actually look like?
Right.
Which would be horror stories.
Bro,
It would be fucking terrifying.
that movie would have been great if they'd have left it at that idea, trying to make it like a superhero-y,
And that's
trying to put that hero-y shit into it.
exactly. And that's what happens when you have a movie created by fucking committee and by studio executives who have no idea what the creator's actually trying to do. Because the original Suicide Squad, they didn't get to shoot it because they fucking chopped it up. But what they were originally going to do is the Suicide Squad was going to fight. Well, the original story was they were going to fight Steppenwolf. And they were going to fight the parademons and not beat them, but stall them off. That was the idea. Is that they were going to stall them off so the audience gets introduced to parademons, gets introduced to the idea of the new gods in the fourth world, so that when Snyder Cut comes out and you see the real Steppenwolf at the end of that movie, you're like, oh yeah, we've seen this before. We know what they're fighting. We know how dangerous this is.
They rushed it.
And they rushed it and they fucked it up. But not for nothing, Snyder's original plan wasn't to do, and he said this in multiple interviews, it was never to do a massive universe. It was to do 5 movies and then have other creators come in and play around with it. Whether it was like Patty Jenkins with Wonder Woman, or it was James Wan with Aquaman. The fact that Aquaman was a $1 billion movie is insane. Insane. No one could have ever seen that coming.
But I mean, Jason Momoa got that star power though.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that they kept him for Lobo. He's going to be a insane Lobo.
He's going to be Lobo now?
Yep. He's
cool.
coming out in the new Supergirl movie. And that's all that, yeah. But anyway,
I hate that I'm so skeptical about shit just because I'm so used to the world disappointing me.
Well, there's nothing like, what has Warner Brothers done, especially after, if you look at like Snyder Cut was the last time that I was excited about Warner Brothers. Like, okay, look, I'm not expecting you guys to come out and say, I'm sorry, but this is the best I'm sorry I'm ever going to get.
Yeah.
And
it was.
And maybe we can get, like, there's enough fan movement to like, because the streaming numbers were great for Snyder Cut. So I was like, okay, maybe we get a second movie. Maybe we get an animated movie. Maybe we get fucking something to show where this story would end up going, but they did nothing with it. They reboot it. They give it to James Gunn. And I got to be honest with you, man, that new Superman movie looks horrible.
You think so?
It does not look good. Like, I'm conflicted because like I watched that trailer and I did not, the only thing I enjoyed about it was the music and the tone.
Yeah.
I think the suits,
tone was nice.
I think the suits look horrible, personally.
They look baggy almost.
They look,
he
they
doesn't
bad.
look like he fits that. Like he don't look strong, man.
Well, because like my whole thing is, if you look at Henry Cavill's Superman, that's
yoked out,
super.
He looks like Superman.
I was more excited for David Cornsweet in Plaid in Kansas than I was him. And my whole thing is, and you're a nerd, you'll get this. Why the fuck are we doing Superman in year 2 with the Kingdom Come symbol when we're supposed to be doing an origin, but like a young Superman? Kingdom Come symbol is reserved for Superman who gave up his life as Superman to live on a farm, but then has to get called back into action when the new superheroes are killing people.
Because you know too much, Noah. You're not supposed to know that. You're not supposed to know that. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to know that symbol indicates this part of his life. They're using, I guarantee you, the directors and the art, whoever the fuck, looked at that and was like, okay, what do we want to portray and shit? Because even giving back Superman's shorts was a controversy.
I was so happy they did that.
It was a controversy to me. To be real, I hate it. I think underwear on the outside is the dumbest thing ever.
Why?
But because it looks fucking retarded.
But isn't that the point?
I'm not worried about.
Hear me out.
The thing.
Okay,
go ahead.
Hear me out. So I feel like you know this, but like, okay, so Batman and Superman, when they first came out in the 30s and the 40s, or the 40s and the 50s, the reason why they had the underwear outside the suit was because the strong men at the time wore the underwear like that because they were powerlifters.
Feel that.
But for Superman. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Before I say this, if they're going to do a classic Batman suit, like they teased in Creature Commandos. If you ever saw that,
I haven't watched it yet, but
it's good.
Yeah.
You should.
I heard it was amazing.
The first like 2 episodes on their own are fucking horrible.
I heard it was really good.
They're horrible, the first 2 episodes.
Damn.
But as it continues, it gets a lot better. But they tease Batman. And I'm like, okay, when they tease Batman, I see a black cowl and a black cape, but I see a gray suit. And I see some underwear in there, and I'm like, oh, great. So don't get me wrong. If I'm getting a classic Batman, I want Batman with like the classic black on gray underwear. And the reason why I like it for Superman specifically is Superman, he doesn't want people in general to be scared of him, but he doesn't want children to be afraid of him at all. So to make children chuckle at him or be funny with him or whatever, underwear outside the pants.
Stop.
Make it
with
little
a belt, nigga.
Yeah, dude.
You need a belt to hold a spandex.
No,
underwear and tights. He doesn't have anything.
You need a Kryptonian. You need a Kryptonian belt to hold the suit together. But I don't believe that's my problem. I don't believe that suit, because like you do Superman one of 2 ways. You either do Superman with a Kryptonian suit, or you do Superman with a suit that his mom made him. That his mom made him. And I'm
even
sorry,
with his mom
did not make that. His mom did not make that suit. I'm sorry.
Your mom walks up to you and be like, yo, I want you to put some trunks on outside of your man, if you don't get the fuck out of it. Look, man, I don't care about tights. I don't care about none of that shit. I don't. Make the suit look dope. Make it look close to what it is he needs. I think the things that he needs is his suit needs to be blue. His shield needs to be whatever S they decide to make it. You know what I'm saying?
The S they chose. They chose it just to make it different.
His cape needs to be red. You know what I'm saying? Anything else outside of that, I think is up to interpretation. Only because it's like, okay, where did this S come from? You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. If it's Kryptonian for hope, then it would make sense that they would be wearing something similar to this just on there. Why did they wear capes on motherfucking Krypton if they couldn't fly?
Because it's regal.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's like, it's cool. That to them, this is like a royalty suit or whatever and shit. I'm cool with even like the gold belt accents and stuff to separate his waist from his legs and shit like that. I just think like you said, the trunks came from a time when we were modeling this after human people that live here, and then we modeling these suits after that. You know what I'm saying? Even with Batman, I think for Batman, it makes no sense for an American, an earthbound human being to be like, let me put this cool costume together, but I'm gonna wear fucking Speedos on top of my tights.
That's
and then put a belt on top of that.
That's my personal bias. Yeah. I do want to see the underwear on Batman. I do.
I don't want to see the drawers.
You're telling me that you're gonna look at a Jim Lee Batman from Hush and say it's not fucking awesome?
Drawn is fire. Drawn is because that's how we saw. That's how his suit looks. Drawn like that. This is Batman's suit. This is Superman's suit. Yeah, I'm used to that in the comics.
So you like the new 52?
In real life, I fucked with the new 52.
The new 52 suits. Okay, yeah, that's
new
fair.
52 Superman. Yes, but this is not to say that I didn't fuck with old Superman with the trunks. The trunks didn't make a difference to me for Superman because he was a drawn comic book character, and this is how they presented it. This is how I got Superman. But for real life, I'm looking at a lot of things that would happen in real life. In real life, I'm not cowering to a 5'4" or to a 5'3" nigga with a weird ass haircut. Fuck you, little white boy. And then he gonna pull his claws out and kill me. But I'm not looking at, if this nigga got a yellow spandex costume on, extra get the fuck out of here, bro. If I see Superman or Batman, I don't give a fuck if he flips that cape out and this nigga got black spandex drawers on with a belt on top of that shit with a Superman S, with a Batman, with a bat symbol on his chest. Who the fuck are you, weird ass nigga? And he gonna beat the shit out of you.
I was gonna say,
and
that
it's
he
cool.
puts you in the ICU.
I'm not saying that I'm gonna win any of these comments, but I'm saying, like, bro, I'm not taking you seriously. So I would like to think that also Batman in the real world, if there was a Batman here, that he would also think that. Why would I put these on the outside of my spandex?
Now that's the type of thinking that leads you to a Christian Bale Batman suit, and we don't need that again. That was one of the
Nigga,
worst.
that's a Batman suit that get you nipples on the outside of that bitch.
But no, that is the type of suit that makes you look like a SWAT member, and it's horrible.
But wouldn't it look like that in real life?
But are we doing real life, or are we doing fantastical? Because James Gunn is doing fantastical.
But Christian Bale, that Christian Bale Batman was set in a more realistic world.
Right.
Bane didn't take Venom in that fucking,
which was stupid.
You know what I'm saying? I thought it should have been some roid rage in there.
I was gonna say, get a little bit of fucking training
or
in him,
something that he did, but they based that Batman in reality.
Right.
His things that he got were things like a lot of the shit that he wore
was the R&D.
Climbing gear, was fucking, you know what I'm saying? And they turned it into gear that Batman could use. So in that universe, that made sense to me for it to look more SWAT tactical and like realistic for the world. Like these are armor pieces that anybody could wear. But
was it good?
I thought so. Did you not like the Christian Bale Batmans?
I think they're fine. I think that the Batman Begins suit to the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises suit was a huge downgrade. In my opinion, I thought that was a huge downgrade.
I have to go back and look at, because I know they change the suits every time.
So the Batman suit from Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises was the same. So here's the Batman Begins suit. That's not a great fucking resolution picture. Okay, yeah, perfect comparison. Here we go. So Batman Begins to Dark Knight. You tell me that's not a downgrade? Come on now.
Okay, wait.
The left is Begins. The right is Dark Knight Rises.
Come on. I don't think so.
Come on.
Okay. Here's the thing. As far as the suit is concerned, yes. I like the Batman Begins suit better, the way it looks. The only reason I think the other suit, it makes more sense to me, is only because he's going to upgrade. And so I think that suit lends to more movement, maybe.
Right, I get that.
And I'm just saying in the realism of the world, why he would probably change to, he would constantly be upgrading the suit to make it look different. I do like the Batman, but you're not wrong. That suit does definitely look better.
And I gotta be honest.
I even like the short ears. I like the way the cowl looks and everything.
If I were to choose a bat suit for the for this new strain of movies they're doing,
okay.
Personally, I would. If we're gonna do this bright Superman shit, that Batman right there, the gray with the blue and the yellow. Show me that. Show me how that works.
I don't like that Batman.
Show me how that works. At a minimum, if you're not going to do a blue cape, keep it black, but give me a yellow symbol. Give me a yellow symbol and maybe a dark yellow utility belt. But again, if we're going to do super comic booky here, give me a utility belt that has crazy shit in it.
I enjoy Batman. I enjoy Ben Affleck's
same
Batman, just the OG spandexy Batman costume, like the Kingdom. Which costume?
Well, so his costume had
from
Kingdom Come.
He had Dark Knight
Returns.
Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. I like the big meaty bat.
Yeah,
right on the chest. Bang.
Yep.
Even if you give me the gold, I don't mind a Keaton suit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was good.
Like I like Keaton's suit. Give him, of course, give him some neck movement.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't mind Keaton's suit neither. I just don't want draws on the outside. I don't want to
really. Okay, outside, that's fair.
Man.
Yeah.
Even with Superman, I don't mind it on this new Superman because of the take they're trying to take with him. It's fine, but Like, make the suit make sense to me in the real world. Like, why?
Or in that universe of like, why are they doing? Yeah.
Why would I wear underwear on the outside?
And that's
of
the
my suit?
only leeway that I'm giving with like Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific, because Mr. Terrific looks perfect.
Perfect.
He looks perfect.
Great.
Because he always had the jacket and all that.
Jacket, tee on his face.
But my issue with Guy Gardner and Hot Girl is put them together with Mr. Terrific. They all look the same. So we'll see what it looks like or what the story is in July. But my theory is that they are all contracted by the government and they were all issued these suits. And hopefully they get better ones as time goes on. Because if you're going to regulate a Green Lantern to a jacket, you're fucking up. You are fucking up big time. You need to... The only Green Lantern that's made a jacket look good, I believe it was Jessica Cruz that had a jacket at one point. It was either her or the other guy that I forget his name.
Guy Gardner didn't have a jacket? Or was he vest? He was vest.
He had like a vest, I think.
Yeah, like a vest, high collar. Didn't he have like the high collar vest?
He had a vest at one point. But you get my point, right? They all look the same.
Yeah,
they all look the
they
same.
kind of gave him the same.
It's very Guardians 3. And it's like, I get that it's the same guy making the movie, but it's like, yo, this is a different universe. You're telling me that Hot Girl, who came from the, it starts with the T, the Tar,
I know what you mean.
the Egyptian
little group,
the Egyptian people, they don't look the same way as someone from Oa.
They don't.
Or gets powers from Oa.
Right.
And they look the same way as someone,
that nigga that's just on the,
Mr.
on the earth. Like, I mean, Ooh. Points made.
So we'll see what it looks like. But I like the music. I like the tone. It's just, and again, I have a lot of personal bias because I love what Snyder did with his stuff. But I just
still think Henry Cavill was the perfect Superman.
He was like he in his performance, he captured perfectly the imposing, huge Superman that can be soft and warm.
Right.
And I don't look at David Corns, and maybe his performance is going to knock it out of the park, and I hope it does. But like I don't look at David Cornsweet and be like, oh, fuck, that's Superman. We better get our act together.
That suit looks baggy to me.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look like he built up any muscle for that.
It's not form-fitting. And
I don't know if that should be a problem. And it's only a nerd problem because I shouldn't be looking at a dude and be like, yeah, he's not fitting the suit right.
But he should be. No, because think about it like this.
But Superman is Superman, bro.
I'll counter that though, because like obviously aside from the fact that nerds are the people that built up this fucking industry and we're the ones that put our money towards it. But if you look, because I forget who said this, but I completely agree with it. Comic books are American mythology. And with all mythology, humans project themselves onto these characters. They are everything that we wish we could be, and when they're bad, we hope to never be them.
Yeah.
We hope to be these versions of these characters and to have some of the attributes that they have. So they should be the best versions of us. Look the fucking part, dude. Or at least make the suit better.
Right, man.
You see what I'm trying to say? You see what I'm trying to say?
Bro.
So we'll see what happens. It's just hard for me to give a shit because like with Warner Brothers, I didn't see Shazam 2, but I heard it was horrible. I didn't see Aquaman 2, but I heard it was terrible. Wonder Woman 2 was terrible.
It was.
I haven't seen Blue Beetle, but I've heard meh about it. I've heard it's a toss up.
The beginning of it, right when he got his suit, I don't think I made it past that part.
Fair enough. And then I watched The Flash, and you know what? Not good.
I really wanted the other guy to be. I wish they would have just made the guy that played the Flash in the series.
Grant Gustin.
I really liked him.
He was good.
You know what I'm saying? I really liked that show. I didn't watch it all the way through. I got through a good grip of seasons.
I got through like season 4-ish.
It's just that those are CW shows.
Yeah.
And so it's just like you can take them with a grain of salt because you know they don't matter in the grand scheme. They only matter to the other shows that surround them.
But they were fun to watch.
They were.
Like, dude, Arrow season 1 through 5, great. The first season of Supergirl was pretty good. I'm slowly getting through it, but I really enjoy what I'm seeing from Superman and Lois. I'm enjoying that.
Have you watched Teen Titans?
I watched the I watched a season and a half and I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I heard season 3 is pretty cool because they just kind of throw everything out the window and they're like, let's just make this as crazy as possible. Like the Deathstroke stuff, I guess I've heard was pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
The Red Hood stuff was pretty good from what I heard. I will never forget when that first trailer came out for Titans and they had Nightwing going, fuck Batman. I remember when that happened. I was like, oh, fuck, all right.
Everybody was just like, well, yeah, you had to make your decision right then whether you were going to watch it or not watch it, just on that statement alone.
I just wish they had tied that into the larger DCU because that Nightwing would have played perfectly with Ben Affleck.
It would have been great.
But, Zack Snyder decided to open his stupid fucking mouth, and I love the guy, but decided to open his stupid fucking mouth and be like, no, the dead Robin in our universe is Dick Grayson. I was like, dude, stop.
Well, the Robin in that, that does suck because he did kill off again. Because I was about to say the Robin in that universe is Dick Grayson. And then they moved to not Jason Todd. Yeah, it is Jason Todd is the next one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Jason, but they never did a Robin in the DC universe. But with Titans, they did Dick.
That's what I'm saying. With the Titans universe itself.
Oh, yeah. They moved into Jason Todd. Well, Tim Drake showed up too, right?
Well, was
the
Tim,
black kid? Yeah. The black kid played Tim Drake in Titans.
It might have went further than what I watched it. Because I know the second Robin came in. Because the first dude played Robin to the point, became Nightwing in like the second or third season or something like that. And they had I know the second season they brought another Robin in. And I'm almost positive it was Jason Todd.
Because they brought the kid in that played Tim Drake. Yeah, or they played Jason. But then this guy played Tim Drake.
Okay, yeah. See, I didn't watch that far. Yeah. Nah. I mean, and like I said, that's like even with them doing like even with the Flash and that series in particular, the Flash series, that was the first time that they had changed Wally West black. You know what I'm saying?
They did that in New 52.
Okay, but was that was New 52 did come before that?
Yeah, but he was great in the show. That Wally was great.
Like even with Iris, with Iris and
Iris,
everybody,
they made her,
because that was her, not her brother, right? Was it her brother? Yeah, Wally West is Iris West's brother. Yeah, the whole family was black. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like it didn't change the story enough to where people should have been mad about the colors. Was like. That I think that's where a lot of even black people come from even like a cosplay aspect of things. Yes, Superman, Batman, a lot of your favorite characters, these comic book characters that we have loved for years, Peter Parker, everybody, are were invented. They were white. You know what I'm saying, and this is what they are and shit. But there should not be a world where we can't also put that costume on and be like, hey, I'm Superman. Even though I look completely different from the character.
Well, that's the beauty of Spider-Man.
These are made up characters.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? These are fictional beings that don't really exist anywhere. As much as I take comics as serious as I take comic books, you know what I'm saying? I still know that like these are not real people. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You think I looked at Spider-Man India and was like, oh, what the fuck? I don't give a fuck. Give me a good, compelling story of why this would work in India, and I'm with the shits. You know what I'm saying? You gave me a story about a white man coming from a whole nother planet and being the most powerful person on the planet. And I believed you. You know what I'm saying? And I was with the shits. And I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? I got that shit tatted in my fucking flesh. You know what I mean? Yeah. I fuck with Superman heavy. And Spider-Man is my favorite comic book. It's Peter Parker Spider-Man, not Miles Morales. Peter Parker. That nigga is me. Like I look at Peter Parker, like I said, like he's me. And I said this on your last podcast. We ain't got to get into it again. But yeah. So it's like, I don't think it makes a difference what the person looks like. Embody the character for me. What this character stands for and represents and what he is. Give me that and I'll believe whoever the fuck you say you are. No matter what color you are. I don't give a fuck if the next Superman they make, like I said, it's a fucking Japanese dude. You know what I'm saying? From Japan. I don't care. make it make sense to where it's like, yo, and then when you make it make sense and the story is good and it's like, yo, because at the end of the day, yo, when I was a kid, I used to dream about these movies coming out. Batman and Superman and X-Men and Avengers and everything. Aquaman, all these characters that we love, we grew up with, reading these comic books about. I just wanted to see them in real life. That's all I wanted. And now I got it. I'm getting it in droves. Like, I'm getting it to the point where I'm like, yo, why are they making an Ant-Man movie? Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to see Ant-Man. I don't give a fuck about Ant-Man. But they gave it to us and it was a good movie. It was like, oh shit, okay, I give a fuck about Ant-Man a little bit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if they would have made Ant-Man a black dude, which they by rights could have did, because at one point there was a fucking character that can grow and shrink that was a black dude. You know what I mean? But it's like, just make it make sense. If you're going to change them, you know, because I do understand people's frustration with that a little bit. I do understand the white folks' frustration because I read comics and I know what people are supposed to look like or what they look like at the beginning of their character arc or whatever and shit. It would be a shock for me to see Punisher and it'd be like, oh shit, that nigga's from India. You know what I'm saying? Punisher's from India, but why could that not happen to an Indian guy in America where he was in America, he became a cop or whatever the fuck he was, and his whole family gets murdered by the mob who he was investigating. And now he wants to become a dude that slaughters fucking criminals and all that shit. What does his skin color have to do with the fact that the things that happen to him? You know what I'm saying? Why does it have to be this white guy that it happened to? You know what I'm saying? So I understand that. But I also look at it like, yo, this is the character they established. This is the lore. This is all that shit that's shaped around it. And I understand how that makes sense in the lore. But we live in a world where lore
right
isn't lore until it happens. So it's like, shit, whoever it happens to, that's who it happens to. So it's like, you know, but I can have that perspective because I'm coming from the other side of it, a person whose lore doesn't matter to the majority of fucking the people that are observing it. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about black lore. You don't care about none of that shit. So it's like, yeah, if I try to establish myself as a character that already exists or something that exists in media, they can be like, nah, this ain't how it really happened. You should do it like this, just to satisfy that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whoever person. Sorry, y'all. And yeah. And so it's like, I just challenge people that aren't a minority or aren't a, like, you know, an oppressed, I ain't gonna say oppressed, whatever. Just to think about it, you know, because now y'all are starting to experience it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There are white folk that are now starting to see that, like, y'all not welcome in some places, you know what I'm saying, that you want to be welcomed in and shit like that. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why not? Like, what the I just want you to see, like, how that feels. And then, you know, just take it to somebody who's not been welcomed for a good majority of the time that they've been alive. Been alive 42 years, yo. Not saying that that my life has been fully and wholly oppressive, but it's been pretty shitty. So like when we get a little victory, a little small victory, and that comes in the form of a fucking comic book character.
Yeah.
God damn, bro. This shit doesn't even exist in real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
no, I get you. No, I get you.
So that's, and I think that's in a nutshell, like that's where a lot of people are coming from. It's like, yo, can we just have this for a second? Because you're not going to think about it in a year. You're not even going to give a fuck. You're going to watch this movie like, yeah, you know, it was cool. It was whatever. Like,
yeah, I get you.
You know, and that's what it is. But I do understand the shit from the nerd, from just being a nerdy person and absorbing all of that. Y'all haven't seen outside of this door right here. You should see this motherfucker's house. He has a library. Like, look, if he could start a comic book shop or any of that shit, he could. Like, I promise you he could. I'm out there like I was about to say something real wild. I was turned on. That's all I say. That shit was crazy. I was like, oh my, I could spend so much time in here just regaining comic book knowledge. It would have been amazing. And I love that.
Well, listen, you're welcome back any fucking time,
I love
dude.
that we can both appreciate this medium. But you know what I'm saying? We appreciate it from the same perspective and then two different perspectives.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I
That's
agree.
why a lot of black people you'll notice will relate with X-Men so tough. Because mutants.
Right. Yeah. No, literally. Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, why do black people fuck with the X-Men? It's probably because like that's how we feel in that universe. Like that's us. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, but they're still cool. So like Wolverine, Jean Grey, Cyclops, all them, the Colossus, whoever the fuck, I'm gonna lean towards them more than a Captain America or a Batman or a Superman and all that shit. But yeah, that's, I appreciate.
Yeah, me too, man. This has been a fucking blast.
Cause this shit, I love talking comics and fucking bullshit, nerd shit with motherfuckers. Man.
This has been a fucking blast. Listen, man, you're welcome back.
I don't need none of that.
You're welcome back any time you'd like, dude.
Yeah.
I let a little bit too much time pass between podcasts, but you're welcome back any fucking time, dude. This has been a blast.
You can bring me out here with that. I don't want to talk about me. I don't never want to talk about me when you have me come back, bro. We just talk about whatever the fuck is on your mind. And I'm here to talk, man. That's it.
Before we get out of here, where can everyone find you on social media? Do you have any shows coming up next? Anything like that?
I had to check my damn schedule. But man, what happened, I took a little break and I just needed that for me. PTSD has been a bitch. And so what I would tell people to do if I had to get to tell people anything is to please go get your mental health checked. Therapy and all that shit is awesome. As far as what I got going on, like I said, my podcast, as soon as it drops, I'll let y'all know, but it's going to be called The Joint Effort. That'll be coming out soon. I am still doing comedy all over the place. Stef Darnell on Instagram, on Facebook, on, if I'm not mistaken, YouTube. It's either Stef Darnell or Smitty Wesson on YouTube, but if you want to game with a motherfucker, I'm Smitty Wesson on any gaming system you fucking got. SMITTYWESSON. Come fuck with your boy. And I like to play shit. I am streaming on Twitch and Instagram right now. And it will be Smitty. I'm not Instagram. What is that shit? YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah. All that, but yeah, man, if y'all want to play games and do all kind of stuff, man, come holler at your boy. But
I'll hit you up for some fucking Helldivers.
Please do it, man, because I enjoy killing bugs.
Some managed democracy needs to get spread.
Managed democracy. You damn right, man. Come holler at your boy.
Listen, this has been a fucking blast. Yeah. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you like what you've seen here, please share it with as many people as possible. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It really does help out the podcast. And if you're feeling extra generous, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon, which I have coming soon.